This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Oh look, see, I don't have my hat on my head. Holy shit, I forgot. Oh well. Yep, no hat. I've got like where's illiterate ink, man? He's waiting around to have a recap. Oh, I don't need it. my wife handed me the hat. Anyways. Oh boy. Here, I'll put you guys on hello mode. Can you guys just all say hi once and that's it? You don't need to point people out. And say hi this person, hi that person, hi this person, hi that person, hi this one, hi, 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 hi. Just go hi everybody, and that's it. Alright? Save a lot of time. Because it takes, it's like a mathematical calculation. Think about it for a second. Hi, everybody. I'm just joking around. I don't really give a shit what you're doing. Lee D's already thrown me in the canner, in the can. All right, so we're already down. What is that? About $4. Okay, you guys seem to be ready to go now. Awesome. Yeah, so I'm incognito tonight. Nobody can recognize me because I don't have my hat on. I got a really short haircut too, so it's like military. You can almost see through my head. But look at it. Look at all the gray hair coming in. Jesus. Yeah, boy. Hey, but at least, you know what? At least I don't have wrinkles on my face. Okay? How about that? I got lucky there. Thanks, Lady and Tracy. See? Hi, everybody. See? Oh, really? That's Lillian Plummer, huh? Wow, that's crazy. I guess you'll have to just change your, everything and re-up your accounts and everything if you want to.
Hi everybody, zany face, heart.
Thanks, Sarita. Okay. Well, I think if you got a new account and set it all up, super chats and all that stuff would still work. But anyways, I got the I spent like a few hours going back over the same stuff we looked at last night to put it all together so I can just do a recap and then see if there's anything new that we were adding on the next one. Yep. Thanks, Sarita. Rochelle Black. Thank you. Yeah, do you guys think it's weird if I had like a rule where if I have moderators, they can't be moderators on other true crime channels? What do you guys think of that? Because there's people that really wanted to be a moderator and they're only here, you know? It's like, feels kind of weird. What do you guys think of that? Just a thought. Man, you guys must be like 40 seconds behind me or something. I don't have it on rewind mode. Yeah. Kind of, it always feels weird. I don't think it should depend on who or, you know. Well, I guess if it was like, you know, John Lorden or somebody, I wouldn't care, you know. That's about it. That's really it right there. Okay, I mean, that's where it ends. What do you mean, Lee D? Oh, okay, something like that. Yeah. I don't know, just something I was thinking about. I don't like the feeling, you know. I don't like it. You know, it takes a long time to build up a channel, and you know, I don't like people that take shortcuts too. You know, always trying to do. You know, like if you notice, I haven't done like a ton of what do you call those? The collaborations over the years. You know, like literally, like. Almost, you know, maybe like 4. And there's just because we're working on the same case or something, all right? But it seems like there's a lot of people out there that try to sort of game the system, you know, and I mean, maybe it's smart, right? Like you're marketing yourself or whatever. Hey, thanks, JKs. Wow. What the hell is going on? Oh, there we go. That's an emoji, isn't it? Yeah.
What the hell is going on here? Take a shot and let's do this, bro. Who's
I'll probably do one. I'll do one later. Wow, that's the longest pronunciation of my name in the history of mankind, right there. All right. Yeah, we did a show earlier today on the John Doe or Jane Doe. That was you know, well, the live we did earlier in the day, right? Well, the thing is there was the other one. Remember the Sumter County Jane and John Doe? Well, they gave out the names today, and then I went back in time and found all of the newspaper articles around that time, and then I also have the press conference. So maybe I'll do that one tomorrow as an earlier show or something as well, if that's interesting to you guys. Today's didn't have a clever name. It was just what the hell? What did they call that thing? Yeah, it was unidentified. It was Jolene Hemi, but the way they... Hold on a second. Yeah, the swimming pool one. So it was just like any unidentified drown. That's what they had on the grave. It was something like unidentified drowning woman or something. I mean, man, you got to come up with something for that. No, I didn't say that, Blaze. Were you paying attention, or? I said I don't know if I want my moderators to be a moderator, you know, on other true crime channels. Does that seem unreasonable to you? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just a thought that I'm having. I don't really, you know, it's just like, it feels strange. Yeah. All right. Because there's people that are always here that aren't mods, that were mods. Well, up above you said not good, Julie W. So now you're saying, now you're reversing your thought, or what? Trying to figure out what you're saying. I can't understand you. Yeah, so we'll get started here in a minute, but yeah, it just seems like I don't know. I know there's okay. Well, Julie, how about Julie? Go do your own channel, and you know, I don't need you to give me a qualification on it. I just asked a question. I don't need you to say not good. Okay. I didn't say you couldn't be members of other channels. I'm talking about moderators. Okay. Ah, Jesus. Clown. Yeah, I didn't ask for you to give sort of a value judgment on it. I just wanted to know about. Oh God. I didn't say anything about a policy either. I just said I don't know if I want to have it that way. Yeah, so just go do your own thing, Julie. Okay. Well, it does have a weird feeling like that, Lori. See, people like Julie don't understand the feeling that you would get. You know, that's the thing. They just pretend that it's, oh no, you know, because yeah. I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, I'd rather have somebody that's absolutely here all the time, and that's kind of their deal. But, you know, I guess, you know, if it's a totally different time frame and they're kind of a different genre in it, then sure. But, you know, when you see when a channel starts doing similar things, then you sort of wonder, like, wow, that's interesting. How did that happen? Yeah. Anyways, let me go get a Gatorade. All right. Jesus, where is it? Right. That's right, Jay. I don't know. It's just a thought, but I don't need to have people say, "Well, that's not good, man." You're not, you know, it's lame. You know, I'm just asking, is it really crazy, or, you know, you could just say yes or no. You know, that's it. I don't need to hear anything like that. Extra flourish on the end of it. Well, hey, Gene Fish. See, your statement there didn't make any sense because you say, Gray isn't paranoid, but I do understand loyalty is important. See, that's sort of weird. Did you mean something opposite of that, or because the word "but" retracts what you said prior? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd like kick somebody off. It might be something where it's like, well, maybe make a choice. Something like that. I mean, I don't care if you're channel members or things like that, but like moderator, that's something different. Seems like people would understand that a little bit. I know there's somebody else out there that's going to start doing almost exactly the same things. People calling in and having the going over articles and it's just kind of strange. With one of my mods over there. Wow, we've got Tom Hanks in there, everybody. We're so blessed. It's awesome. Yeah, probably. I had 81 and now there's 30 or so. Well, it just didn't make any sense what you wrote, Gene, so it reversed itself. No, I don't know if they're. You don't think somebody's a spy. I mean, but all of a sudden you might have the person might listen to they're going to suggest all the same stuff that we do all the time, and then they're going to, maybe start doing it and getting advice from the moderators, and it's hard to build your channel up on your own. It takes a long time. I've been doing this now for I don't know. The live stuff for 3 years, it seems like. I don't hardly ever post any information on watts. The last time I did anything on watts was years ago. I mean, not years ago, but So, anyways, I'm going to get going here on this. So I'm going to do the recap right now. Just a thought that I had. I probably wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't just sort of remove somebody. Yeah. Sometimes I have to move the live stream over to channel members only, though, because there's a lot of weirdos out there. Well, thanks, Jay. Yeah, I'm not going to do it that way though, Susanna, because I think my show works good the way it is. I'm not going to pretend to, See, there's people that they only cover the really popular cases over and over and over, and their channel soars quickly because that's what they do, right? And it's funny because you go to their channel and when they do another case, people aren't. It's like half the views. I don't get very many views for some reason on these because they're 3 hours long. Maybe that's it. Yeah, we do super chats. Yeah. You mean this channel or the other one? I don't know. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like if I started doing the big cases for 5 months, I'd have 100,000. Yeah. Who knows? But I think when you guys comment in the comment section after the shows, it makes a big difference. So hopefully you guys will try to do that. Because, some of the stuff's interesting. You guys could have a conversation going on in there. I noticed that it made a difference. And then all of a sudden it started going back down to 10 comments and 11. And, there was a while there was 40, so it worked pretty good. Yeah, I think comments are big because it means that people are engaged with the show and are continuing a conversation, and they like that you're hanging out on the video. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. All right, well, here we go. I'm going to do the recap now. And I think, let's try it, everybody. I'm going to move it over to the middle monitor. And let's see. I'm sure it won't play the music. I think I got rid of it. I mean, other than my music. It's not going to, I mean, not the music. The audio of the news. So it should be gone now. All right, you guys ready? So this is the case that we were talking about yesterday. I don't know how many days this will take, but the LaSalle Street murders, 1971. And it was on a street called LaSalle Street, right? And so the victims in this murder are Robert Hinson, 27, Robert Gierse, 35, and James Barker, 26. And I think, Gierse is obviously, he's a little older, so he's kind of probably the leader. He owns the home and whatnot. But here, I'm going to read through these notes, okay? So if you guys want to know what all the crap was that we got from yesterday, here it goes. Okay, the murders were reported at 2:25 p.m. by John Carnes. This is another individual. He's 29 years old. He's a business acquaintance of Hinson and Gierse. John Carnes had tried to contact them at work at 2 p.m. Wednesday, December 1st. So he tried to get a hold of them the day that they were found, because he's the one that found them, but they were probably killed the night, late night before or early morning on the 1st. So either the 30th of November or the 1st, like at 1 or 2 in the morning type of thing on the 1st. Right, so John Carnes had tried to contact them at work at 2 p.m. Wednesday, December 1st. Mrs. Louise Cole, the office secretary, told Carnes they had not arrived for work. Carnes called many other places, and then when he was unsuccessful doing that, he went to the Gierse home. So he drove over there after. First he called where they worked, and he called all these other places that they would normally go. Then he drove over to the home. He noticed Hinson and Gierse's car parked on the opposite side of the street. I'll get to that part in a minute. Carnes knocked and called their names. So he knocked on the door, said, "Hey, Robert, whatever he called him. Bobby." He called their names, then he entered the home in the front door, which was ajar and unlocked, obviously. Well, I don't know if that means obviously, but the door was ajar. When he got no answer when he knocked on the door and it was ajar, he entered the home and found the bodies. He started to run from the house, but stopped to call police from the house phone. He said there was a triple murder, but the police didn't believe him at first. Then an officer showed up, and he was like, "Oh my God," and he ran out of the house and started calling all the different agencies. Okay, then Mrs. Louise Cole, the secretary, 34 years old, the secretary told police the two men had told her they planned to leave, and by two men she means both the Roberts, that is Hinson and Gierse. They both work at a company called B&B Microfilm that they started. Robert Gierse started it, and his business partner is Robert Hinson. So Mrs. Louise Cole, 34, secretary, told police the two men had told her they planned to leave the B&B Microfilm office at about 6 p.m. Tuesday, November 30th. So that was the night that they were probably killed, was Tuesday, November 30th. And he said that they'd planned to leave at about 6 p.m. I think it changed a little bit later. Miss Louise Cole also worked with Hinson, Gierse, and Barker at Records Security Corporation. So they all worked together. So it's interesting, you have this, Louise Cole worked with all three of those guys for like 6 years. And also worked with them earlier in the year, but when Gierse started this company, he hired her and she left the other company. It's weird. You sort of wonder if there's some kind of secret taking. People talked and said, hey, if you can get this and this, and we know what the costs are, so we can undercut this stuff, and then what we'll do is we'll call over there and say, hey, we used to work. There could have been stuff like that going on. Mrs. Cole has worked with the three men for 6 years. Miss Cole said she left work at 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Hinson and Gierse said they were going home around 6 p.m. and then returned later to do more work. That's what they said that they were going to do. They said, hey, why don't you go home? So she left at 5:30. They were going to stay working until 6, and then they were going to come back a little bit later, but nobody knows if they ever went back there. All three were found in separate rooms at 1318 North LaSalle Street, and that is, let's see, where is this? Right here. So that's the home. This is where they were killed. That's the door that was ajar right there. Maybe it's a different door, though. It was 50 years ago.
Gray, how do you know it's the same door? I mean, couldn't they have changed it?
Yeah, Gray, how do you know?
Well, I just mean the same location. Like this door, a door that was right there. Okay, you guys?
Okay, geez, don't get angry.
Yeah. So right there. All three were found. Let me get up. Where is this part? Okay. All three were found in separate rooms at 1318 North LaSalle Street. Their hands and feet were bound with strips of bedsheet. Gierse was the only man gagged. So, the older guy was the only one that actually was gagged. The other two weren't. They were all likely beaten before they were killed. Hinson and Barker. So Barker's the one that's probably just a friend that showed up. They both suffered skull fractures. Now, each body had been held by the hair so that the skin on the neck was tight and had their throat slashed from ear to ear. The cuts were very smooth and about 2.5 inches deep, which severed the windpipes and reached the vertebrae of all three victims. A very sharp instrument was used. Gierse also had a slash on his arm. Gierse and Hinson. Yeah. I actually, when I look at this, it feels like Gierse is the main one. Like they wanted to take out and execute the other ones. And it's like, it feels like, I don't know, why did they only gag Gierse? I don't know. Although, why didn't they kill him? Well, we'll get to that point in a minute. You'd think they would have killed him and just bailed if he was the victim, because remember, he got home first. He was able to put his jacket and so forth, and his overcoat and his suit jacket in the closet. All right. A very sharp instrument was used. Gierse also had a slash on his arm. Gierse and Hinson were wearing the same clothes they had worn to work on Tuesday, indicating they were killed Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning. Of the three men, based on the position of Gierse's vehicle, he arrived at the house first. He was also the only of the three men to remove his overcoat. The other ones were all killed with their overcoats on. Gierse's black overcoat and gray suit coat were hanging in the hallway closet. Barker's car was on the opposite side of the street of Hinson and Gierse. The time of death is estimated between 10 p.m. Tuesday, November 30th, 1971, and 2 a.m. Wednesday, December 1st, 1971. Hinson was found face down on a bed in the front bedroom. He had on tan imitation suede jacket, blue and gray checked trousers, blue shirt, and black shoes and black socks. Gierse was face up on a bed in a rear bedroom. Dark gray trousers, a red shirt with pale white stripes, and black shoes and socks. Barker was face up on the floor of the bathroom, and that was between the other two rooms. He was missing only a shoe, clothed in a light tan windbreaker jacket, brown trousers, green shirt, brown socks, and brown ankle-length shoes. Man, he liked brown, I guess. All right, so Hinson, he had a $1 bill and 21 cents in his pocket. Barker had only change in his pocket, which equaled $1.42, and then Gierse had $1.11 in change.
So was that like, like 6 quarters and that kind of thing?
Yeah, Gray. Which one is it?
Who gives a shit? Okay. The three were large men. Gierse was 6'2" and weighed 225 pounds. Barker was 6'3" and he weighed 239 pounds. Hinson was 6'2" and weighed 215 pounds. I mean, these are really big people, right? They could all bench press over 250 pounds. I mean, these guys are strong as hell, and they are huge. Okay? Hinson and Gierse were business associates at B&B Microfilm Company, and that's at 446 East 10th Street. It looks almost exactly the same. It's right over here. I didn't really show you the relative. But there's a door right over here. You can actually see it. That's the door for that business. Okay, and let's see. So that's right there, and the home is right there. So to get home, you would drive like this, and then probably straight down that street. Hey, good night, Linda Howe, as in Linda Molden Howe of the Cattle Mutilations and Crop Circles. Well, I would send it back to you, Linda, if you did that. Although, horribly, YouTube would take their chunk out before I could get to send it back. Alright. All three men once worked together at Record Security Corporation. At 7. Let me put this in there. That's what I was going to do. This is where they all used to work. You know, you sort of wonder, did somebody get pissed that they took clients? Like, I'd want to know if those clients they had worked here at one point. At this building. Well, I'm sure that's... I don't know if that's the same building that they had back then. But. All right. Police believe it took more than one person to do this crime. All three victims' automobiles were parked out front. Hinson's vehicle, a 1969 Oldsmobile Gierse, had a 1971 Cadillac. So Hinson had a 1969 Oldsmobile, Gierse had a 1971 Cadillac, and Barker had a 1970 Ford Mustang. A neighbor mentioned there were lots of parties at the house. Barker once lived at the house. Gierse was single, and Hinson was divorced with a young daughter. A neighborhood teenage girl said she saw two men in a yellow Oldsmobile 442 from about 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Monday. So, I don't know. That doesn't sound... They might have been scoping it out, to see what time they normally came home. Police were called to the residence on Sunday night. So that was, just 2 days before they were murdered. Police had gone to the house because of a incident there. A woman was crying in her car. She said she was a girlfriend of one of the men. You know, they seem like they were absolute players, okay? Let's be honest. The girlfriend of one of the men and had a fight with him. Police left after she was found to be okay. So he was like, I'm okay. So she got in a fight and went out in their car. I'm not sure what that means by fight, you know. Probably more like a yelling thing. Another neighbor heard a sound at 3 a.m. of a car door or trunk shutting. Mrs. Cole, who was unlisted, so Mrs. Cole is, you know, the secretary, 34-year-old secretary, who has an unlisted phone number, told police she received a threatening phone call hours after the bodies were found. So they're found at 2, you know, maybe at 5:36. The male caller told her she would be killed. Police verified these threats, and they listened in on 3 subsequent phone calls. Crazy, huh? Hinson was involved in a brawl the previous weekend. I don't know if that means like, you know, Saturday and Sunday, you know, which would be 2 days before. I don't know. Mrs. Cole. Oh, wow. Hey, thanks, Mag. I guess I haven't been in jail too much. Oh, I really appreciate it. Thank you. I almost grabbed my hat on my head just now, but I don't have one. Ah, that's very kind. Hope you can come back one of these days. We've been going over some kind of interesting cases. I mean, not that they're not all like that. I don't know if I have the... do I have it on this one? Oh. It probably won't make the cat eye sound because I don't have it on the on this screen. But thank you very much. It says, haven't been able to be around, but want to show my support. Thank you, Gray, with the free card. Nope, thank you. Okay, good. Excellent, thank you. Another neighbor heard a sound at 3 a.m. of a car door. Okay, so these were down here. The victim surrounded themselves. Wait, hold on. Hinson was involved in a brawl the previous weekend at a bar with other patrons regarding a gambling debt and possibly a go-go girl. Barker, one of the 2 business partners. No, that was... Wait. No, Hinson is... Wait, hold on. Let me get this figured out in my brain. No, Hinson is one of the business partners. Okay. Yeah, so Hinson, one of the business partners, was involved in a brawl and one of the people that lives at that house the previous weekend at a bar with other patrons regarding gambling debt and possibly a go-go girl. So yeah, here's the thing, is I think that Hinson and Barker are players, and Gierse is kind of like, you know, he's ready to kind of have a girlfriend, and I think that they cause problems for, like Hinson caused issues, you know, that were sort of, and they're a little bit reckless in their behavior. That's what I get when I listen to different stories. Barker, the friend that doesn't live at that house where the murders were, pulled the 2 apart, and the fight continued outside. And then Hinson severely beat the patron. So was that something that led to what happened? Yeah, we've gone over their ages. 27, 35, and 26. Gierse is 35. I think he's sort of not quite the same player as much anymore as Robert and Barker. Or, not Robert. Hinson and Barker. And it says right here, the victims surrounded themselves with attractive women, single and married. So that definitely could piss some people off, don't you think? Mrs. Cole, 34, said Barker... You know what I should do is let me open up the picture of them so you can see what who we're talking about here. There we go. Well, I don't know if I can fit that all in there, but so this is, I think this is Gierse, Barker, and Hinson right there. So this guy, you know, he looks a little older too. Like he's still a player. He's probably like, yeah, I don't know, I kind of, you know, because he's getting to the point where he probably should be settling down, especially back in that era. These two guys, you know, these two guys right here just partying it up. Make sense paycheck? What does that mean? What does make sense paycheck? All right. Mrs. Cole, 34, said Barker called the office around 4 p.m. on Tuesday. So Mrs. Cole, the secretary, said Barker... Let me get... Hold on one second. Yeah. So this is Barker right here. James Barker. That's this guy. Said Barker called the office around 4 p.m. on Tuesday. That's the same day that they went home and were killed. He asked to speak to either Hinson or Gierse. Hinson was the one that was available, and they talked for several minutes. Miss Cole said it wasn't unusual for him to call, as he is good friends with both the men. Okay, so there you go. Mrs. Cole left for home at 5:30 p.m. and both Gierse and Hinson were busy working. Okay, so Mrs. Cole, you know, she works probably till 5, and they said, hey, you know, go ahead and go home. We're going to hang out here. They had told Mrs. Cole not to wait for them, right? So they're still working when she left at 5:30. So we know that they were still alive at 5:30 p.m. Mrs. Cole remembered them telling her they wouldn't stay, though, after 8 o'clock. No sandwich wrappers or beer cans were in the office on Wednesday, the day that they were found dead in the house, which would be, you know, the following morning when she came into work. So, you know, they probably didn't go get something to eat and bring it back. A man she didn't know called the office on Wednesday, the same day that they were found dead, Wednesday morning. So it was in the morning time when she showed up to work, and they weren't there yet because they were dead in their house. I'm just trying to get you to, you know, go along with this. They didn't show up to work on Wednesday because they were dead. That same morning, though, a phone call came in, and the caller said when he was told that they weren't there, the caller said, I want to surprise them. Don't even tell them I called. Right? Well, that's kind of weird. You know, but if they're dead, I guess you would. Maybe what it was is she didn't want him to her to write it down on a piece of paper. That's probably it. He didn't want her to write it down on a piece of paper. You know, so there's probably was no record of it. She just remembered it. Another man named John C. Terhorst was murdered in March of 1970. Might have actually been 71. Excuse me. I think it was just earlier in the year. I believe, anyways. Had connections to Hinson and Gierse. He sold microfilm supplies. See, now that's weird, right? I mean, there's this other guy that was murdered and found in a river, and he knew Hinson and Gierse, and he sold they'd actually met socially too. He sold microfilm supplies to them. The night before Terhorst was murdered, his roommate John Colligan, told police that a mysterious caller called twice on the Saturday that he disappeared to ask about the Corvette the salesman wanted to sell. The caller said, hold on a second. The caller said, tell him Bobby called. And then, we all know that Bobby is another name for Robert, like Bobby Kennedy. Bob, Robert, Rob, Bob, they're all the same. In 2 months, M-U-N-T-S, they got huge clients. Like mass, top of the line clients in those 2 months. Now you sort of wonder, did they steal information to be able to get those contacts from the previous company? And was somebody pissed off at that company and wanted to take them out, right? So they got American Fletcher National Bank and Trust, Indiana National Bank, and this huge one, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Hinson and Barker may have lived in a house on 700 block of North Riley Avenue. And interestingly, it was burglarized the night before the triple murder. So it would be on the 30th, I think. Hold on a second. No, that would have been the 29th. They were found on Wednesday. That would have been the 1st. The 30th is Tuesday. That's the day that they were at work. So, and they were murdered that night, I think they believe. So, the 29th, Hinson and Barker may have lived at that house. And it was burglarized the night before the triple murders. Gierse had owned the house by assuming the mortgage at one point. Isn't that wild? Witness says a car containing 3 white men was parked across the street from the east side home of Robert Gierse and on Tuesday night around 6 or 7. Hold on, I think I missed a part here. No, I guess I didn't. Alright, well, I know this is other information I'll tell you here, just based on what I read. So here's the home. Gierse, his car came home first. His car was facing north, so just how we have it here. He's facing up this direction. So Gierse was parked across the street from their home, facing north. Then Hinson's car was behind Gierse's car. And then Barker's car was on the side of the house where they lived, facing that direction. So he's across the street from Hinson, Barker, and his car was parked right there. And it makes sense that Barker and let's see. No, not Barker. Gierse and Hinson's car facing north, if you look at where they work, this is where they work. So you would drive down the street, take a right, and pull up and just park across the street. So Gierse was first, goes into the house, hung up his overcoat and his suit jacket in the closet. And then so that means that he got home and was comfortable at home for a while. I think somebody then knocked on the door and went in. And they may have already, well, here's what they probably did. They gagged him so that he wouldn't say, hey, you guys, there's people in here. So they were keeping him alive, so they gagged him, tied him up, hog-tied him, everything. Maybe put him on a couch or something, who knows. And then they waited for they waited for Hinson to come back. They weren't expecting Barker. Barker was an unintended death. Like, he wasn't supposed to be there. So Hinson comes home, because they're the two that live at that house. And Hey, Zozo, you haven't really followed the story enough to have an opinion quite yet, but maybe later down the road, all right? Maybe later down the road. Could be. Very well could be, right? You always throw out your theory, and it's always, you know, a lot of times it's not right. One of these days, though. One of these days. Nobody actually knows, though. That's the thing. Very well could be a dead ode. It could actually be Hinson, right? Hinson was the guy that got in the fight at the bar because of gambling debt, right? So they may have been waiting for Hinson to come back after capturing Gierse, right? So they capture Gierse, tie him up, and the real goal is for Hinson to come home. Hinson comes home, and they have them tied up, and then, whoa, another knock comes at the door, and it's Barker, right? So then Barker comes in, and they have to tie him up, too. And Barker's the one, he was found in the bathroom. And let me see if I can get the picture. If you're still here, Zozo, I'll show you the bathroom picture. You probably missed that one too. Just a second. Oh, by the way, if you want to see, this is Mrs. Cole right here, standing right outside the front of that house. That's what she looks like. That's the secretary. She's only 34 years old. It's weird how like hairdos and the time frame makes everybody look a little older sometimes. All right, here it is. So this is the image that they have of, yeah, I think the house kind of does look similar to this. There's the front door. Might open up the other direction. Hinson was in the front bedroom. There's a living room right here. Barker, the friend that showed up randomly, was found in the bathroom. And then Gierse was found in the back bedroom dead. Alright. So there you go. That's the layout of where they were found. Crazy, isn't it? Hey, thanks, Robin Frost. G'day, mate. G'day, mate. Yeah, I can tell that doesn't sound right. I gotta work on that. No, they did not live there. All three of them. Just the two guys, as I've explained already. Robert Hinson and Robert Gierse lived at the house. Barker was just randomly showing up there, and the police believe he was accidental. Nobody knew that he was going to be there. I think, you know what? It could be that the night before, those two people sitting in the car were scoping it out to see how it would normally play out, you know? That's definitely possible, isn't it? Hey, thanks, Robert Frost, the poet. Yeah, well, we did the whole show last night, and then today I went through the articles again and put all the notes in so that I could just read them again. Because that's kind of a lot of information right there, right? Although it's obviously not that interesting because we've only got 89 people watching again. There's probably some really cool shows going on, you know. An update on Watts or... Yeah, I think it's probably, you know, it probably does have something to do with business or something. But it could be that because here's what's interesting is in 2 months, they have 3 blue chip clients. How did they get those people? No, I know that you guys are interested that are here. It's just interesting that, you know, I used to get like 200 people, and whenever you're not covering one of the big cases that they just want to hear over and over again, because they know it, they don't watch. Well, also Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's massive. Was that what you were saying? Maybe that's what you meant. Yeah, Blue Cross, Blue Shield. They have a whole list of like blue chip clients that they just sort of miraculously acquired right away. So it makes you wonder if they were at the previous place that they work. Did they sort of pilfer inside information to be able to go steal those clients? And the secretary. So she might have had access to different information, right? Right, exactly. They would know what the price was and be able to underbid. I was saying that earlier. So they would know what they were charging their clients. Thanks, Berkeley girl. Laser beam. Hey, freaks, wishing us all a better year this year. Yeah, me too. Man. Well, it's smart, but it's also, it's really shitty and cheap to, it's lame to do it. So I don't really call it smart. In this case, I mean, if it's just sort of a generic business, if you're working at this company for 6 years and then you take the massive clients from them. I know that people do that. You work somewhere, you learn how to do it, and then you start your own business. I know somebody that did exactly that same thing. Right? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way the business world is. I always thought it was kind of... Well, it didn't say it was Blue Cross, Indiana. But yeah, it would be big regardless of what it was. Yeah, they listed them as all big clients. Yeah, it's just dog eat dog. I mean, if you had a landscaping company or something and you underbid other people, they're charging $50 an hour, and you say, well, I'll do it for $40, well, screw the other people that were charging $50. Yeah, well, that's what that is, though. That's what that is. Yeah. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not stealing. But there, it's the same thing as what do you call it? Amazon. You sell something on Amazon, and they can sell so many of them, or Walmart, that it undercuts, the sort of the local store that's been there for so long. They can't afford to charge so little for something. Yeah, well, I know that you did something like that. That's different, though. You're just putting in a bid that's lower, and you're willing to accept it. I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like there's something a little more to it. See, there's some kind of businesses where there's a lot of people doing it. This might have been something where there weren't a lot of people doing it, and they started their own, and they took the big clients that the other company had. Yeah. I don't know. I think it just sort of depends on the industry, right? Like if you started your own hamburger shop and charged $3.50 for fries and a burger, and the guy over there was charging $5, and you figured out a way to make it work at $3.50, well, that's just is what it is, right? People might think there was something wrong with your burgers and fries if it was only $3.50, though, right? Oh, really? That's kind of interesting, Blaze. Yeah, I don't consider what you were doing, Zozo, the same thing. You've explained your story. It doesn't sound the same to me. I mean, it might feel like technically the wording, but... Yeah. That is interesting. But why... the police believe Hinson may have been the target. And it's a good point, too, because when Gierse got home, why didn't they just kill Gierse and get the hell out of Dodge? Why did he need to wait for the other people to come home? Because they had already been in there. He came home, he put his jacket up, then they came in and killed him, and then sometime after that, Hinson showed up, parked behind Gierse. Then he went in, and then they killed him. I'm interested to know what time Barker got there. You know, was he? They think he was the last car, but he was. It all makes sense. He lives in a direction right here. Look. This is where James Barker lives. Well, if he lives there, though, I don't know if that does make sense. I guess he'd have to... Why would he do that? I guess he would go like this, take a left, go like that. I guess you could do that, but it seems like it's more simple to go like that. But. So he would go here, Brookside, boom, and he parks right there. Yeah, maybe. I think they were trying to get information from them. That's why they were tied up. You know, if you're just going over there to take somebody out, you wouldn't tie their hands, their feet. You know, they put a gag in Gierse. I think they put a gag in Gierse so that he couldn't say anything and warn them when they came through the door or something like that, right? They needed them to come into the house. So they may have already had Gierse in that back bedroom and were just sort of hiding to the sides when the door was open. Had Gierse not been gagged and could see them coming in, he might have said, "Hey, get out of here," and then they would run out and then there'd be ruckus going on in the streets, right? Doesn't that make sense? And then you sort of wonder if Barker wasn't the second one that showed up, and then he was put in the bathroom, and now you have a wide open living room, nobody in it, and then Hinson comes home, and then boom, they draw the guns on him and tie him down. They may have even killed. Well, they had to wait. Well, why would they keep Gierse alive until Hinson came back? It could be that they needed information from Hinson and Gierse, but they didn't really give a damn. I mean, Barker might have been killed pretty quickly. He wouldn't have known that much. So anyways, I'm about ready to get to the new information. But first, I'll be back in a minute. I won't care if somebody's a moderator somewhere else, unless I can see something. Alright, there you go. So this is pretty interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, she owns a street sweeping company and charges a little bit less than somebody else, but so what? That's different. It's not, the main reason for the street sweeping thing is government pays way too much to do everything. Okay, so and business, it's just ridiculous how the charges that people give on something like that. So yeah, it's no big deal. I don't consider that anywhere near the same thing. All right, let's over. Slow slaying probe. What is this one? All right, let's just try to get through this one really fast. The intricacies of this was written on the 9th, so this is just a week in after they started reporting on it, 8 days after the murder. The intricacies of the personal and business activities of the victims in last week's East Side triple slaying may mean police are days or weeks away from a solution. Their comments came amid widening speculation the killings were hired out to professionals in an act of vengeance against one or more of the slain men. Deputy Chief Ralph Lumpkin, head of the police investigation, said 7 detectives working on the case have gathered so much information and the men led such involved lives, it's going to take weeks to sort it out. I mean, you can tell it's already complicated, right? So, I mean, imagine what they have. Lumpkin, who said yesterday a possible motive had been upturned in the case, said all microfilm stored by B&B Microfilm Services Company, the young firm of 2 of the victims, must be reviewed, and it's a lengthy and involved procedure. Detectives are working on a couple of leads revealed yesterday, including a stolen car recovered with a stain on its rear seat. I wonder if that's the one that other guy had. And insurance policies to, let's see. Oh, totaling, not two. Totaling, they cut it off on TO over here. Totaling more than $150,000 on the lives of the partners. Robert A. Gierse, 35, and Robert W. Hinson, Jr., 27, were the partners. They were found dead in their 1318 North LaSalle home December 1st, along with James C. Barker, 26. And he lived at that address that I showed you, 1535 North Rural. A friend and business associate. All had been beaten and bound, and their throats were cut. One detective said the absence of physical evidence at the scene indicated the players were either very lucky or very efficient. Assuming a hired killer was employed, another detective said, just finding a motive doesn't mean we'll find the killers. Well, I think I read that with the wrong inflection up there, but he's just saying assuming a hired killer was employed. Lumpkin remained mum on the possibility organized crime may have had a finger in the microfilm business here, either through the victims or existing or planned firms. Gierse and Hinson had worked for 2 other local microfilming companies. Commercial Microfilm Service, 121 West North. Let me put that one in there. I don't have that one. 121 West North. West North. Okay, so right around in this area. And that was called Commercial Microfilm Service. And the other one that we already mentioned. They had succeeded in landing several top accounts previously serviced by their former employers. Oh boy, that's what I was just wondering. We didn't have that information. So they were serviced by their other employers, big time accounts. That's a lot of money, right? A detective said the beneficiary of the life insurance policies of more than 100,000 of Gierse and more than 50,000 of Hinson may have been a company rather than an individual or individuals. Wow. He declined to reveal more about the insurance. Wow, that's crazy. Which he said was believed written through a Bloomington agency. A car owned by Robert Rowe, an employee of Scott Graphics Technifax division, and reported stolen by Rowe the afternoon of November 30th, was examined by police yesterday. The car, a 1964 Chevrolet, was recovered the same night after the victims were last seen alive. It matched roughly the description of an auto seen parked near the death scene while it was missing. That makes sense. Police technicians were to analyze a dark stain, the owner said, was new to the rear seat. I mean, man, you cut 3 throats like that, you're going to have blood all over the place. You know, I mean, you can definitely, you know, if you're behind them and you do it, you're minimizing the arterial spray on yourself. You know. Police said Scott Graphics based microfilming equipment. Police said Scott Graphics leased microfilming equipment to B&B. Wow, I mean, that is just totally complicated, isn't it? Hold on, let me add some of this just so I have it. Thanks, Darlene White. Scott Graphics. Okay, and then what were they saying about the car? Let's see. Okay, Robert Rowe, an employee of Scott Graphics Technifax division. He reported a stolen car the afternoon of November 30th. Wow. The afternoon of November 30th. So that is about the time that they're at work, you know, running into the evening at work, and then the secretary stayed there till 5:30 and they left. Mrs. Cole stayed there till 5:30, and then Gierse and Hinson stayed a little bit longer. So that means right around that time a car is stolen. Okay, I think I'm trying to get this detailed because I think this might be important. Thank you, Darlene White. Is that a wave I see? Police said Scott Graphics. Okay, the car was a 1964 Chevrolet. And it was recovered. 64 Chevrolet was recovered the same night. I wonder what time they recovered that. Because they could have all been killed by 9 or 10 even, you know. And that 3 o'clock trunk shutting. I mean, who knows what the hell that is, you know? Could be anybody. Was recovered the same night after the victims were last seen alive. It matched roughly to the description of an auto seen parked near the death scene. So, it matched roughly the auto parked at the death scene. I think that's the one that had 3 people. While it was missing, police technicians were to analyze a dark stain. Police said Scott Graphics leased, now this is important, Scott Graphics leased microfilming equipment from, to actually, B&B, all right? So they're actually, the car that's missing actually leases graphic equipment to the 2 guys that are now dead, and they're, you know, and then the car was found later, and the car matches the description roughly of a car seen parked there with 3 guys in it between 6 and 7 in the evening. So, but why would they, can you picture, why would they need to go to that guy's car? Why take that particular person's car? So I don't believe in coincidences like that. That's just too... Wish I knew what that meant, but hey, thanks. Thanks, Zozo. Lumpkin said a team of investigators scheduled to be sent to Chicago to interview associates the victims had while there. I mean, Chicago, you know, it's a gang place. Will remain in Indianapolis until he sees how much help he can get from agencies in Chicago. Also undetermined, he said, is the significance of the acquaintances of the Hinson and Gierse with John C. Terhorst. That's the guy that we were talking about that was murdered 7 or 8 months before. Thank you, Lee D. Well, I'm glad that there's some of you guys that are interested in these kind of cases. I mean, is this just, do I have this set to just members only, or? So they want to know the connections with John C. Terhorst, a Chicago-based Indianapolis area salesman for E.I. DuPont de Nemours and Company, who sold microfilming supplies. See, look at that. I mean, how crazy is that shit? This other guy that was murdered 9 months before also sold microfilming supplies to Record Security Corporation while Gierse was there. Terhorst was found shot to death in Eagle Creek in Boone County last March. That's insane, you know? So who is microfilming? Is that one of the ones that was mentioned? I can't remember. Thanks, Juju Positive. Hey, look at that. The random number again. 1121. How come you put the zipped mouth on there? Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe, you know, somebody did mention money laundering yesterday. Yeah, maybe there's something going on where it looked like, you know, they had these big time clients on there so that they would be expecting a lot of cash coming in, but it wasn't really happening. I don't know. I'm sure they would have figured stuff like that out. Oh, you're just listening? Okay. So anyways, it says, who sold microfilming supplies to Record Security Corporation while Gierse was there. Terror horse was found shot to death in Eagle Creek. Well, this just doesn't feel like that could be coincidental. This kind of stuff. Speculate that hired killers murdered 3. Same day. Same article. Same day. I mean, the same day that the last article. Police speculated Wednesday that hired killers may have murdered 3 Indianapolis businessmen as a warning to others to fall in line with mob efforts to infiltrate the relatively new and lucrative microfilming business. 2 of the victims, Robert A. Gierse, 35, and Robert W. Hinson, Jr., 27, recently started the B&B Microfilm Company here and may have been aware of efforts by organized crime to get a foothold in the business. Huh, why would they? I don't know. Probably for laundering purposes. Yeah, see, I guess when you're money laundering, you need to find a business that brings in a lot of cash, a lot of money, right? Yeah, it did look better than $1.21. I'll give you that. Let's see. Gierse, Hinson, and James Barker, 26, were found December 1st in the East Side home shared by Gierse. Yep, they were killed. All right, so that's the theory that they had right there. Here's another one. This is on the 10th now. Clues discovered in murder house. I'd read it, but it said, I think it says in here that they couldn't say what the... Armed with clues from the interior of the house, where 3 Indianapolis businessmen were found slain last week, police continued an investigation of the brutal murders and hinted the FBI may be involved into the case. Deputy Police Chief Ralph F. Lumpkin, head of the investigation, disclosed for the first time that police found clues inside the home where Robert A. Gierse, 35, Robert Hinson, 27, and James Barker were found December 1st, their throats slashed. Lumpkin declined to identify the clues, however, other than to say they were some things in the interior of the house. Wow. Well, the other one was generous too, though. Thank you, Juju Positive. Man. Very kind. Thank you very much. Maybe, I don't know if, I don't have the cat eye sound, but set up on this screen, so I'll give you the lizard eye and cat eyes. Okay, you get them all. Here's my generous donation. Yep, the generous freak. Yep. Oh, wait. Oh, and then don't forget this one. Thank you very much. Crime to infiltrate the... See. He said FBI has been acting in an advisory capacity and may be called into the case officially if evidence turns up that the death resulted from efforts of organized crime to infiltrate the microfilming business. Check a car stolen. Let me see what we got here. I'm just gonna. Lumpkin confirmed that police have learned there was $100,000 in life insurance policy on Gierse and $50 on Hinson with Records Security Corporation. Wow. Oh wow, that's crazy. So that's where they worked before. Right? Wait, hold on. So that was an important piece right there. Yeah, Record Security Corporation. This is where they worked before. And, man, this is nuts. Did you see that? Lumpkin confirmed that police have learned there was $100,000 in insurance policy on Gierse and $50,000 on Hinson, with Record Security Corporation, 752 East Market Street, as the beneficiary. So that other company that they used to work at were the I mean, I want to know when those policies were created. Jesus. Okay. So. Gierse had a 100,000 policy and Hinson 50,000 life insurance, with the beneficiary as Records Security. That's where they worked just prior. Record. Wait. Wow. That's weird. Why would there be a life insurance policy on people's lives that would go to a business? You know, especially when I don't remember which one it was. Gierse or Hinson has a child, right? Both men they left that company and stole their clients. See, that's what's weird. The company who they stole clients from had life insurance policies out on them, and miraculously they get killed and they get to collect on the life insurance policy. And that's a lot. 100,000 back then is about $1 million right now. Well, this one seems like it was intentional, and they killed him to get paid back for the clients they stole. Maybe, right? Lumpkin said police have discussed the policies with Theodore G. Ulan, president of Record Security. The deputy police chief explained that it was, okay, here we go, not uncommon for businesses to obtain high benefits policies on top executives. Huh. I understand that part. But don't you think it's weird that they ended up being killed right after they left the company? Yeah, I mean, people do that. I've heard it. But here's the thing is, then they're killed, and then they get this money back after they stole the clients. See, it's like they knew that they were going to get the policy, right? Yeah. The money from the policy. All right, so, what's his name? Theodore G. Ulan, president of Records Security, says it's not uncommon to have insurance policies on executives. On top executives. Yeah. And the reason you can do that is so after they leave, you can have a hitman take them out and get recouped if they take some of your clients. Yeah. The deputy police chief explained that it was not uncommon for business to obtain. Lumpkin said police are continuing to check a car stolen November 29th from a firm that leased equipment to B&B. But he said police do not believe the car had any link to the murders. Okay, they've taken that out. So let me I'll remember to take it out. Well, I got to do it now. Okay, I'm just going to remove that whole segment on that if they don't believe that. Well, still checking on that. Police don't believe this is related, but still checking. Okay. Lumpkin said neighbors reported seeing the car parked on Ritter at least an hour and possibly earlier before the official recovery time. Okay, the triple murders are believed to have occurred between 8 p.m. November 30th. Oh, wait. Let's go up here. Hold on a second. Lumpkin said police are continuing to check a car stolen November 29th. I think this is what I wanted to know earlier. The car was stolen at 2 p.m. on November 29th. Right? So that's the same day that they get killed later in the night. From Technifax division of Scott Graphic at 2502 East 52nd Street and recovered at 9:10 p.m. No, actually, that's the day before that. November 30th is the day they were killed. So it was recovered 9:10. That's definitely within time to have killed him. And it was found... Okay, hold on. I gotta get this in here. Shit. They give out... They got so much more detail than even that last case that we did. Alright, so this is that company called Technifax. Technifax Scott Graphics. Alright, so this is where the car was stolen from. And then, let's see where it was recovered. I think that's important. It was recovered at 2200 South Ritter Avenue. So it was just... Is this Ritter? Yeah. So somewhere around in here it was recovered. That's weird because, you know, it's right there, and then it was stolen from here, murder here, and the car's there. I don't know, man. I wouldn't write that one off quite yet. Wouldn't write that off quite yet. An employee of the firm, Robert Rowe, notified police Wednesday after noticing a red stain in the back seat. Lumpkin said neighbors reported seeing a car parked on a Ritter at least an hour and possibly earlier. Okay, so that's when it was recovered at 9:10, so it might have been there at 8. The triple murder are believed to have occurred between 8 p.m. and November 30th. Okay, that would kind of make that a little bit harder. But you don't know that, right? Because you don't know that they left work at 8. That's what they said they might do. They might have left at 6. But maybe there's witnesses. There hasn't been any information that we've seen that said somebody saw them coming in. Oh, good night, Andrea Ruggiero Drum. That's kind of weird that you have to sign an insurance policy for a company. Like, that's kind of greedy, you know? Or I don't know what the actual reason for that is, but so police plan to check today to determine whether a printing machine used at B&B was the machine Yulin reported missing from record security. I don't know anything about that. Haven't heard of that yet. Whether the machine has any significance in the investigation was not known. Lumpkin said police plan to check the machine serial number to determine if it was the one that Yulin reported missing. So they're saying a machine was stolen, and they're wondering if it was now being used by B&B. I'm sure it's expensive. A longtime friend, and it was stolen from the company they worked at last. Starkey, who described himself as a consultant for banks and other financial institutions, said he himself started working for Bell and Howell at Chicago in the late 1950s, and Gierse came to the firm in 1962 after working for smaller companies. Starkey said Gierse worked his way up to service training director at Bell & Howell by the time Starkey left the firm to join commercial microfilm services. Starkey said he was production manager at Commercial when he hired Gierse from Bell & Howell in 1967. When Starkey resigned from Commercial, Gierse became the general manager. Starkey said Records Security, which he helped set up, started originally as a storage vault business in Carroll County about 1960. It was built by the now defunct Clem Corporation, he said. He said the vault, this is like totally complicated here. I'm not going to write this stuff down now. He said the vault was sold to Ulan in 1967 when Ulan went into the microfilming business. The firm began in Indianapolis area with an old building in the new Augusta area. Starkey said he assisted Records Security with advice on what equipment to buy and recommended Gierse a general manager. Gierse went from Commercial to Records Security in 1968. Hinson, who also had worked at Bell & Howell at Chicago, later joined Gierse with Indianapolis firm. Starkey said the last time he saw Gierse and Hinson was in October when Gierse told him he had started at B&B. He said Gierse was proud of the venture and wanted Starkey to stop by. Starkey said there is money to be made in the filming, but said a new outfit like B&B would face heavy expenses in the beginning. However, he said Gierse was a talented salesman who could draw new accounts. The murder, he's the older guy, Gierse was. The murder investigation also has focused on another man who had connections with Chicago, the new Augusta area, the microfilming business, and Gierse and Hinson. He was John C. Terhorst. Now we're talking about that guy again. A salesman working out of Chicago who was shot to death and dumped in Eagle Creek near Zionsville. Terhorst had left his Indianapolis apartment ostensibly to go to the Woodruff Place area to see a man named Bobby about selling his car. Terhorst had done business with both Gierse and Hinson. I mean, what? Oh, God. I mean, it could be something like if you need a lot of money to get it started. I mean, were you doing things that you shouldn't be doing to raise money? Putting yourself in, I mean, hell, maybe even setting up this murder right here, because it is Bobby. There's two Roberts that were murdered. Captain Raymond, I mean, although that's a very common name, right? Terhorst had done business with Bob Gierse and Hinson at B&B. Barker, an employee of Bell & Howell in Indianapolis, also formerly worked in Chicago. Captain Raymond A. Coors, head of the Homicide Division, assigned Detective Jerry Campbell full-time to the investigation. Huh. Man, I kind of see what they're talking about. They've got to untangle all this crap. This is on the 11th now. What is this? Probe triple slang, execution killing link. The execution style slang of an Indianapolis burglar in Morgan County last October may be connected with the unsolved murder of 3. Police said the October 8th gangland slaying of convicted burglar Bobby, like they got a guy named Bobby in this one, Bobby Lee Atkinson. Oh wait, Bob Atkinson? Huh. That's not Bobby Atkinson. What's that? Isn't that the... No, that's a different year. Well, isn't that weird that guy's name is Bobby, right? 900 block of North College Avenue may be linked to the December 1st triple murder through burglaries and stolen merchandise found in the microfilming business 2 of the 3 victims operated. Huh. Wait a minute. Linked to the December 1st triple murder through burglaries and stolen merchandise found in the microfilming group. Huh. Atkinson's death had remarkable similarities to the March murder of salesman John C. Terhorst, an acquaintance of the East Side victims. So now we have another victim here. Bobby Lee Atkinson, 38. 900 North College Avenue. Burglary. Okay. This is getting crazy. I mean, not that it wasn't already. Deputy Police Chief Ralph F. Lumpkin reported these other developments. Fingerprints found in the home of Robert Gierse and Robert Hinson Jr. do not match with those of Gierse, Hinson, or the other victim, James Barker. The prints may be sent to the FBI, which have been providing advice in the investigation. The Indianapolis Police Department Vice Squad has entered the case because of possible involvement of pornographic films in the murders of Lumpkin. Refused to comment on this. Indiana State Police also have entered the investigation because we have some aspects which take us out of Marion County and involve investigations State Police have made. Gierse and Hinson, executives of B&B Microfilm Service Company. Oh, we already know that part. The body of Terror Horse 25, a salesman representative for E.I. DuPont Demers, working out of Chicago, was found March 8th in Eagle Creek near Zionsville. Man. All right. I'm going to move on to this one. Helpful clues are found in probe of 3 murders. So do they tell us what those are? Deputy Police Chief Ralph F. Lumpkin, head of the investigation, disclosed for the first time Thursday night that police found clues. He declined to identify. Okay, same crap. This is the same day as the last article. Alright, the 12th. No link found in murders. So let's see if they cancel out some of these ones. Attempts to link murders of 3 Indianapolis men last week with any other murders in the state are based on speculation. Major Robert Gray of the Indiana State Police said their investigation has not revealed any connection between the triple slangs and any other murder under their investigation. Robert Gierse, Robert W. Hinson, and James Barker were found dead. Yeah, we've already got through that. Deputy Indianapolis Police Chief Ralph F. Lumpkin said many clues have been found but are not being revealed because it may hamper the case at a later date. Lumpkin said there has been much speculation on the possible links to other murders, but we are looking for facts and nothing more. The speculation began when it was learned John C. Terror Horse 25, so it's still speculation, but they can't prove it either way. I also looked for the link between Bobby Lee Atkinson, but that's kind of interesting that, remember Bobby was supposed to get a car from Terror Horse? How do you know that's not the Bobby? Just saying, just saying. Investigators are concentrating on the local activities of 3 East Side businessmen. I'm confident we'll make an arrest in the case, declared Captain Raymond Coors. Although investigators say they were sticking with local suspects, they didn't rule out the possibility that actual killings were committed by hired mobsters from outside Indianapolis. Homicide detectives, it was learned, are concentrating on 3 or 4 good leads. As to the personal lives of the 3 men found slashed to death in a house occupied by Gierse and Hinson at 1318 North LaSalle Street, detectives learned the identity of at least one jealous husband who became enraged when he learned that Hinson had boasted of having relations with his wife. Detectives hope to obtain additional information at Chicago as to how Gierse and Hinson financed B&B. No specific date has been set for the Chicago trip. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They needed to raise money for it. The suit, it was learned, was filed June 23rd, 1970 in Vigo Superior Court at Terre Haute by Henry B. Let's see. Seeking damages of $20,000 from Record Security, where Gierse served as executive vice president and general manager, and Hinson as production manager. Named as defendants were Record Security and Theodore B. Euland and his wife as owners. An inventor of microfilming devices, helped originate Record Security with Charles E. Starkey and helped set up Euland in the business. Kuth, yes, I don't know how to pronounce that, who worked for Euland from March 11, 1968 to May 31st, 1969, contends the company failed to pay him $300 a week salary for 63 weeks and did not honor his expenses of $1,174. The suit also contends that Record Security agreed to purchase microfilm equipment in the amount of $1,034 from Kuths, or Kuchis, or however you pronounce that. Does anybody have an idea? Kuths? To be paid off at the rate of $208 a week plus interest. The suit was transferred on a change of venue in Superior Court. I mean, what does this have to do with them, though? Let's see. Lieutenant Joseph G. McGaddy of the Homicide Branch said detectives are delving into 2 insurance policies with Record Security as the beneficiary, taken on the lives of Gierse and Hinson. Gierse's policy was for $100,000, Hinson $50,000. McAtee said he had learned that Gierse, as an officer of the company, had paid the insurance premiums personally. Well, don't you guys find that interesting, Susanna? Why would he do that? Did he tell that company, listen, I don't understand this at all. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever right there. Listen to that. Gierse's policy, Gierse as an officer, and it says he paid the insurance premiums personally using company funds. So he was paying these premiums from the new company that he works at. Does that make any sense? Yeah, because he was like a top salesman. Right, so that sort of throws that whole thing out the window that we were just talking about earlier. This is just complete craziness. What would be a reason for him to do that? Detectives were seeking to learn who made the last premium payments and whether the insurance policies remained in effect after Gierse and Hinson left the firm. Okay, so he was paying it. Wait, so he was paid the insurance policy. Let me read this paragraph again. Gierse's policy was for $100,000 and Hinson was $50,000. McAtee said he had learned that Gierse, as an officer of the company, had paid the insurance premiums personally using company money, company funds. So maybe that means he was using company funds, but he would go in and personally pay at the policy at a building. Maybe that makes sense. That makes sense, maybe? Because he's using company money, so it's being paid by the company, not him. That's sort of a contradictory sentence if we were to believe that he paid it personally. But it could be that he went in person to pay it using company money. What do you think? Man, is everybody else falling asleep? There's only like 3 people commenting. Detectives were seeking to learn who made the last premium payment and whether the insurance policies remained in effect after Gierse and Hinson left to form B&B. Okay. McAtee also said he learned Records Security had suffered some financial problems recently, possibly stemming from the suit. Oh, good. Okay, I was just wondering if there was just people not really listening. But at least, hey, there's 91 now. Yeah. Well, you don't have to really worry much about... Just kind of remember what happened to him. Triple slaying probe taking new direction. Police say they're continuing investigation of the slaying of 3 young business 2 years ago. So now we're actually... right now, we are... Where the hell are we? It wasn't 2 years ago. What's the date on this? Oh, that's 74. Oh, interesting. I don't think I put the... That should have been... let me rename this and get out of here. That should have been 1974. I do these in order so that we sort of see it the way other people saw it. So did we do this one? No. How about this one? Yeah, that's one we just did. Okay, good. All right, so now we're on the 18th now. Bar patrons quizzed in slaying probe. Indianapolis police investigators are attempting to learn if 3 men brutally murdered on the east side were drinking companions of the primary suspect in the case. Detectives have been visiting night spots that were frequented by Robert Gierse, Hinson, and Barker, the murder victims, to learn if club employees or regular customers could recall the primary suspect being with any of the trio. We don't know who that is. The primary suspect has not been identified by police. A polygraph test is scheduled to be given to him next week. Deputy Chief Ralph Lumpkin said yesterday that because of the complexities involved in the slayings, it will take at least 2 days to explain the case to the lie detector test administrator so he can properly phrase the questions. Yeah. Lumpkin said investigators are anxiously awaiting an analysis of information obtained in Chicago where the 3 murder victims worked for the Bell and Howell Company before Gierse and Hinson became microfilm company in Indiana. A police examination of business records from the B&B Microfilm Service Corporation will be completed next week. Homicide investigators also plan to visit St. Louis. Okay. And we're getting close to that one long article. That'll probably be it. Got one coming up here in a minute. Slaying probe takes police to 2 cities. Okay. So they went out of this in different cities in the state. I'm not going to go over that one. Slaying puzzle deepens. Oh boy, here we go. We get some more confusing shit. Here we go, I'm sure. The puzzling East Side triple slaying continues to snowball in complexity. More than a month after the 3 young businessmen were found brutally murdered, police said today. The investigation is still employing 6 detectives full-time, has taken more than 2,000 police man-hours. Lumpkin, who is head of the Indianapolis Police Investigations Division, said he met with the investigators assigned to the case Tuesday in a 4-hour idea and information swapping session. He said he feels an arrest or arrests will be made in connection with the case, although the probe has turned up no evidence strong enough to take a suspect into custody. Statements from more than 1,000 persons have been obtained by investigators searching the business and personal backgrounds of Robert A. Gierse, 35, Robert W. Hinson, and James Barker. Lumpkin said lie detector tests to determine statements taken from 4 persons are yet to be given by police lab. Among the statements obtained were 36 from St. Louis Gierse's birthday place and 30 from Chicago, where all three worked. Barker of 1535 Rural was a Bell and Howell salesman when he was slain. The other two were partners in a month-old B&B microfilm service, yet they had these massive clients. Gierse and Hinson were divorced and Barker was single. Nah, I thought one of them hadn't been married before. All three had vigorous social and night lives, investigators have learned. So they're basically players. Alright, well here's the crazy one. Hopefully this one, now we're moving to, January 9th. The next month. This is probably this was an entire, look at this thing. And these are detectives, I guess. These are the three guys investigating it. Yeah, but earlier we already said that one was married, the other one was single. So that means two were single, or was married prior, had divorced and had a kid. I'm pretty sure that would be, let's see. I don't think I put it in there. No, maybe. Let's try it up here. Oh, I did. Gierse was single and Hinson was divorced with a young daughter. So it was Hinson. So I guess single, Hinson's single also because he's divorced. So you would think that if Gierse had been married, they would have said the same thing. They didn't say that, though. All right, I think it's time for my a shot. Since I got to go through this. I'll be back in just a minute. Hey, I'm back, everybody. Hey, I'm back. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, I'm back. Yeah, so why don't you guys comment in the comments? You could probably comment right now under the video, right? Can't you even comment while the show's going on? All right, man, here we go. This is going to be a crazy one. Look how big this sucker is. Woo! That might end the show, okay? This is like a long one here. Hopefully there's some... No, what? What happened? I forgot what I even asked. Zoe didn't even know what you asked either. She just says no. Yeah, so what did I ask? What you asked, can we comment now? I don't know what that means. Oh, you mean underneath the video? Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought during, like, I've seen other people live and you can kind of, I don't know. That'd be great, though, if you guys could do that. It's a memory shot, Rita. A memory shot. That's why I didn't even remember what question I asked. Cheers. All right, here we go. Now, this is like a big, I hope it's like a big breakdown of it. January 9th, 1972. Oh, yeah, so we're actually, well, just like a month later. The title is Slaughter on North LaSalle Street. Yeah, that's right, Rita. A memory shot. Just after 6 p.m. on Friday, November 26th, a cloudy, not very cheery date between holiday and a weekend, Bob Gierse and his bear-like friend, bear-like friend, Bob Hinson, knocked off work at their East Side microfilm business and went out to supper. Okay, that was November 26th. It was the end of a fairly busy week, interrupted only by the pleasantly festive Thanksgiving interlude with the family of their secretary. And the weekend, see, they were very close with that secretary that they pilfered from the company. I think what Susanna was saying up there was pretty accurate about, you know, the three people that left there to start this company were very integral to that company and probably left them in a horrible spot as soon as right after they left. Because even secretaries like that know all the ins and out, office managers basically. So it was the end of a fairly busy week, interrupted only by the pleasantly festive Thanksgiving. Huge men with huge appetites for living, the two bachelors, were looking ahead to their usual Friday night of bar hopping with go-go girls, blaring music, and plenty of liquor. But that was just for starters. On Saturday, there might be a few hours of work, but then they had dates for a formal dance, planned to do some more drinking, and if things went right, the party might spill over into Sunday. If the schedule seemed ideal for a pair of energetic playboys, the fact was it would be in some ways typical for these two men, for just as they went at their work with intensity, so they gave the same kind of intensity to their fun. Young, attractive, with money in their pockets, and as many women as they wanted, Gierse and Hinson, as friends noted, had everything going for them all the time in the world. But on this fairly bleak autumn day, time was running out. It was going to be their last weekend. In just a few days, each man would be dead, along with a business associate who shared their love of work, women, and drink. Sounds like an Irish beer drinking song, huh, Susanna? Horribly murdered in almost ritualistic killings. It was no coincidence that when Gierse and Hinson left work, the first man they met was Jim Barker. He was a drinking buddy, a confidant in romantic affairs, almost like a silent partner in everything Gierse and Hinson did. It didn't talk about wine. Jesus. He was a drinking buddy, a confidant in romantic affairs, almost like a silent partner in everything Gierse and Hinson. I was talking about the topic up there. You missed the point, Susanna. We'll have to get back to that another time. It was no coincidence that when Gierse and Hinson left work, the first man they met was Jim Barker. He was a drinking buddy, a confidant in romantic affairs, almost like a silent partner in everything Gierse and Hinson did. Over supper, they discussed their plans for the evening. On Friday nights, it was their custom not to date. Other nights, and I said that the Friday night was for the guys to hang out. Other nights were for dating. Fridays were for cruising, hitting various bars, usually loud and tough ones. They probably thought because they were so big they could go to even the really, dive bars. Let's see. On any other night, they could have formal dates with women. Friday nights were for raising a little hell. However, on this Friday, Barker did not accompany Gierse. So Barker is the sort of the third wheel guy. He's a good friend, but he doesn't live at the house. I don't know if you call him a third wheel, but. And Hinson, he had other unexpected plans, but he promised to meet them later at the Sherman Bar at 2350 North Sherman Drive. There was no itinerary for the night's drinking, so no one knows for sure the exact path Gierse and Hinson took. However, I'm not sure what night they're describing here, because it was a Tuesday when they were killed. However, they liked dives, and early in the evening, they were seen at two decidedly low-class joints in the downtown area drinking and watching the Go-Go Girls. Where they went from there again is not known and probably unimportant, for they ended up at the Idle Hour Tavern at 3336 West 10th Street, where the only unusual incident of the night was noted. According to witnesses, Hinson had been paying considerable attention to an attractive... This must be that fight that they were talking about. Remember that? They sound like a lot of the guys, Yeah, it is a bit arrogant. I think you're right on that one. They're like the guys that, I remember in college, I was in a fraternity. Wish I'd never done it, but I was in one, and this one guy was, you'd see some guys that had all this money that their parents gave them, and they were just like these types. It's weird how money makes you popular in the world. It's kind of lame, It's like, yeah. I think you're right there, Zozo. I think you're right. Yeah, because they're the ones that can buy all the drugs and the fun stuff. Okay, so according to witnesses, Hinson, he's the younger of the two business partners. He's the one that parked behind Gierse when they got home and he was killed. Gierse, though, wasn't killed immediately upon entering the home. The rest of them were attacked as soon as they got in the home because they were still wearing their jackets where Gierse got into his house, took off both his coat and his suit jacket. Okay, so keep that in mind. According to witnesses, Hinson had been paying considerable attention to an attractive off-duty go-go girl. At one point, he put his hand on her. Then it says, when a man objected, there were harsh words. As Gierse and Hinson left, the man followed and jumped Hinson. Hinson weighed 250 pounds and was a veteran of bar brawls. He made quick work of his opponent. The man later was questioned and cleared by police. The fight merely delayed Hinson and Gierse's cruising. Minutes later, they were down the street at the it looks like it says like High Neighbor Tavern, 3422 West 10th, gulping beer. Neither man gave any indication of having been in a street brawl. Indeed, they were friendly, outgoing, and they stayed at least an hour. That's weird. Yeah. From the High Neighbor, they probably went directly to the Sherman, where they met Barker. The trio went to at least one other bar before heading to the home Gierse and Hinson shared at 1318 North LaSalle Street. The modest one-story white frame bungalow with 2 bedrooms, the house was just right for the 2 bachelors. Gierse was owner, right? Having purchased the home. I don't think this is correct right here. Because the $9,200 mortgage, well, maybe, but he got that other house that was on, remember the other one that was burglarized? Had the exact same number for, he took over the mortgage of a $9,200 house. It could be correct. I'm just guessing that there's something wrong right there. The interior usually was neat thanks to the domestic services of various women friends. Yeah, so he'd have all these women over that he'd be a player with, and they thought, wow, he likes me, and they'd clean up the house and all that shit, and then come over the next day, he's probably arm in arm with somebody else, right? Total player. Let's see. Outside, a walkway went from front to back. Let's see that. This is the home. And we'll go down to street view here. So there he is. There's the walkway. Goes front to back. Outside, a walkway went front to back. Near the front was a wooden arch. Right, that's exactly right. This is where there used to be a wooden arch. And I can show you that picture in... Hold on. I've got it. Well, this one might have it. No, that's the business. Sorry. I know I have it in here. Hold on a second. Jeez. Oh, there it is. Okay. So you can see the little arch right on the left right here. So you could take a path, go through that arch. It's actually in another photo as well in the newspaper. No, there it is. This is the best one. So there's the little arch. See that? Outside, a walkway went from front to back. Near the front was a wooden arch where flowers grew in the summer. On the patio in back stood several lawn chairs and a weather-rusted barbecue. The garage was used more for storing business records than for parking cars. Interesting. Tonight, Barker stayed briefly. He returned to his own meagerly furnished home at 1535 North Rural Street, promising to see his two buddies the next day. Saturday went as planned. Gierse and Hinson spent at least a few hours at their business, B&B Microfilm Service, 4446 East 10th Street. No doubt they ate, as they usually did, sandwiches in the nearby Burger Chef or a local tavern or pizza from the place on Emerson Avenue. In the evening, they joined with... I mean, this is a cool article because it kind of gives you a... You know, after we've gone through all the technical shit, this is sort of like a feel for who these three guys are, right? Aren't you getting that out of this? In the evening, they joined with Barker, Williams, Waymeyer, 48, and their dates to attend a formal Masonic dance. Oh my God, the Masons! Waymeyer, a business acquaintance and friend, had sponsored the membership of Gierse and Hinson into Broad Ripple Masonic Lodge and planned to sponsor Barker. Waymeyer liked the trio. They were nice guys who played hard and worked hard. People liked to be around them. There was no exception at the dance. Everybody seemed to have a good time. Nothing was out of the ordinary. After the dance, they went out to eat. Waymeyer, not yet recovered from a recent heart attack, had to leave early. But the other three seemed to gravitate to the bachelor pad on LaSalle Street. That's where, Gierse owned that home. The $9,200 mortgage, although I think that's an error from another one. Early Sunday morning, another business acquaintance stopped by the house. Even though it was early, Hinson met him at the door with a glass of scotch. So this is on Sunday. I think they're going to work up to this date. This is cool. This is a good article. Sunday morning. So now we're on Sunday. They were killed Tuesday night. All right. Early Sunday morning, another business acquaintance stopped by the house. Even though it was early, Hinson, the younger of the two guys, the two Roberts, met him at the door with a glass of scotch. Inside, two women, really angry about something, were with two children. In the bathroom, Gierse sat in the tub while another woman, wearing panties and a bra, scrubbed his back. You talk about players, man. That's what. During their conversation, Hinson mentioned the Rumble and the Idle Hour and reminisced about other fights. The acquaintance never did learn the identity of the angry woman, but then neither did the police. So that's the lady that got angry and the police had to show up. So what time of night was that? That was Swenton planned. In the evening, they joined with Barker, Williams, Waymeyer. Waymeyer liked the trio. They were nice. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's the lady that got in the argument. I don't know about the two children part. I mean, well, no, those players are always gentlemen, right? Like, even at their funeral, there was like 30 women there that were... I know, it's like, how do they pull that off? Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, I'm sitting there calling, saying lizard eye. They were nice guys who played hard and worked hard. People liked to be around them. Sonic Lodge and plan to sponsor work. Waymire liked the trio. They were nice guys who played hard and worked hard. People liked to be around them. Early Sunday morning, another business acquaintance stopped by the house. Even though it was early, Hinson met him at the door with a glass of scotch. Inside, two women, really angry about something, were with 2 children. It does say 2 children, so each one had a kid or something. In the bathroom, Gierse sat in the tub while another woman wearing panties and a bra scrubbed his back. During their conversation, Hinson mentioned the rumble at the idle hour and reminisced about other fights. The acquaintance never did learn the identity of the angry woman, but then neither did the police. After delivering some material, this is the lady that they showed up, the police did, and then they left after she was okay. After delivering some material he had prepared for B&B and finishing his scotch, the acquaintance left. By noon, and that was on Sunday. So had all the other visitors. During the afternoon, nothing out of the ordinary was observed at the house, and there, you don't know what happened at the house because all 3 of the people that may have been there are no longer living. Around 6:30 p.m., a neighbor saw Gierse leave the house, but he returned a short time later. About 8 p.m., the same neighbor saw a yellow Oldsmobile pull up in front of the house. Out came a young brunette. That's weird because that other car was yellow earlier with 2 guys in it. Crying, she knocked at the front door of Gierse Hinson's home. No answer. After waiting a few moments, she returned to the car and sat there. The aroused neighbor called police. Okay, this is that woman. The aroused neighbor, what time was this though? It's just 8 p.m. The aroused neighbor called police. The run went over as disturbance, and a patrol car assigned to the area arrived and questioned the young woman. She had a fight with her boyfriend, she said. That was all. Now she would go home. But she drove there, went to the door, nobody answered, then went to the car. So she came back because she was pissed off. You know, it's sort of like when people email me after they get angry at me on the show and they send me an email later because they just couldn't deal with it. They just, you know. Let's see. Run over and disturbance patrol. The policeman. Let's see. The aroused neighbor was now she would go home. Okay, the policeman did not take her name. No, you don't send me that. The policeman did not take her name, nor could he describe her very well. Yet the incident would loom up later. Was she a married girlfriend? Had Gierse, when he left the house earlier, gone to see her and got into a fight? Why did the man fail to answer when she knocked? These are only a few of the questions that were to remain unanswered. You know, it could have been that Gierse was leading her on. Oh, yeah, hey, you should leave your husband, blah, blah, blah. Leave your husband, okay? And she's like, yeah, okay. And then he got what he wanted, then dumped her ass. Then she goes over, tries to go back over the house to say something, and he doesn't do anything, you know, to make it better, right? So then she goes home and actually tells her husband, right, that of what happened, knowing that her husband maybe would take care of the problem. Let's just say, you know. I'm just using the wording like how they would do it. I didn't mean to sound callous towards her. She probably didn't do anything wrong. I don't think he banged his head later. That's really... the people who thought they knew them intimately... Let's see. Okay, there were only a few of... these were only a few of the questions that were to remain unanswered. Perhaps One of the answers was that Gierse and Hinson already were asleep. Really? Tired from the long, active weekend. I guess so on a Sunday. That's their, collapse day. But I think most people wake up when someone's banging on a door or something. That was their last weekend on Earth. Two people who thought they knew... not two TWO, but to people who thought they knew them intimately, Bob Gierse and Bob Hinson could not be described precisely as unlikely candidates for murder. Hinson, after all, kept a pistol. Both men liked to... Oh, man, he was probably pissed he couldn't get to that damn pistol. Both men liked to frequent tough bars, to take daredevil rides on motorcycles. They wouldn't back down from a street fight, and certainly they were aware of an element of risk in their relationships with married women. Okay. But cold-blooded ritualistic murder? See, the way that they were murdered takes a psycho to do that. And they were all bound and gagged. It seems more organized than a husband that was angry. Do you guys agree with that? I mean, it seems like a husband that was angry, unless the husband was part of a mob, you just aren't going to see all of them bound, gagged, and then they're all killed the same way in 3 different rooms. It's more like a hit. But it's just amazing how many options there are here, right? It's a little bit like the last case, the Krutz case. A lot of different things going on there. At the age of 35, Robert Gierse was known as a man on the way up, a man with a photographic mind and a golden tongue. At 240 pounds, he was nearly as husky as Hinson. I mean, those are 2 really big guys. And they're tall too, so. But regarded as more of a brain, well-mannered. This is exactly how I pictured it. See, Hinson's the loose cannon, and he's younger. They met later, obviously. I mean, there was, he's 35. Hinson was 27. He was nearly as husky as Hinson, but regarded as more of a brain, well-mannered, confident, with gentle qualities about him. Yet he also was a man of contrast with something of a Jekyll Hyde personality. Known as a gentleman, an energetic salesman who would work any hours of a sale, he kept to himself on personal matters, usually confiding only to his buddies. He wanted to better himself. He was reading the Encyclopedia Britannica and had got as far as bats. Well, he did get into the bees. I mean, getting through the A's is hard, right? Let's see. Yet after business hours, he could be a boisterous skirt chaser, drinking beer. This is what Zozo was talking about. As others might drink water. And scotch in copious amounts. Come on, scotch is pretty good. You drink a little Glenlivet, Macallan. Once he downed a 5th by himself in a few hours. He's 250. Any normal person doing that, you could die from that. He liked to have fun. He enjoyed being a bachelor. 8 years earlier, a marriage had soured into divorce. So now they're saying he was married, where the previous article didn't say that. Okay. Now we could... Let me add that. Hold on. Georgia's single, but divorced. Fifth bunch. He liked to have fun. He enjoyed being a bachelor. 8 years earlier, a marriage had soured into divorce. Now he could have his pick of women. When he was on the move, his speech became heavy with obscene words, and he liked to hit those low-class dives. As principal owner of B&B, so a lot of times when he'd go out on those dates, to nice restaurants, that was his gentleman's side. Then Friday nights he turned into the Jekyll, or whatever the bad side is, and he just drinks like a fish, cusses every other word. I knew somebody that would talk like that. He'd say, I walked down the effing street and I effing found this effing guy that walked into an effing, it's like every third word was an F word. This guy wasn't like this guy. I'm just remembering how that guy would talk. It was hilarious. It could be boisterous. He liked to have fun. He enjoyed being a bachelor. Okay. So when he was on the move, his speech became heavy with obscene words, and he liked to hit those low-class dives. As principal owner of B&B and firm, he had started with Hinson. About October 1st, he probably would earn $20,000 to $25,000 a year in his first year of business, which that's like almost $200,000 now, I would say. 8 years younger than Gierse, Hinson was like him. You know that because the house was $9,200, right? You could buy a house for it's back then, 1971. $25,000 was a ridiculous amount of money. 8 years younger than Gierse, Hinson was like him in many ways. He had met Gierse in the early 1960s when both worked for Bell. How could it have been the early... I guess it could have been. He would have been very young, though. Like 19 or something. Hinson would. When both worked for Bell and Howell Company at Chicago, 1967, Gierse was hired as production manager at Commercial Microfilm Services. Gierse left Commercial in May 1968 to join Record Security Corporation, then located at New Augusta as executive vice president. Fun-loving, handsome, and friendly, Hinson was known as a suave ladies' man. Yet there was a streak of moodiness in his personality, a curious darkness that seemed to make him the mysterious man of the trio. A girlfriend thought he seemed to have something on his mind when she was dating him the previous month. He had told her, "Don't get involved, this is all for fun." At least, he was being honest, I guess. Part of the reason for his refusal to get serious was the fact that he recently had been divorced. He had a tiny daughter. But Hinson had his own winning ways. He was a immaculate dresser who seemed to smell good all the time, and he worked hard at his sales job. See, these are the players. If Gierse and Hinson were virtually inseparable, the picture was not complete without James Barker, 26, a salesman in Indianapolis for Bell and Howell. Also a confirmed bachelor, Barker was on their wavelength in many respects, most particularly women. He was the last member of what friends called the Three Musketeers. Chicago also had been the setting of their initial friendship. Barker met the other two when all three were employed there at Bell and Howell. He had roomed with Gierse at Chicago for a year. Bright and charming and something of a practical joker, Barker was thought to be more gentle than his buddies. When neighbors had a new baby, he bought a gift, although he only had lived in the city since he was transferred from Chicago in April. If If his hours were strange, 4 a.m. was not an unusual time for his arrival at home. It suited his somewhat nomadic habits. Home was just a stopping place. A few pieces of furniture, no stove, TV, or refrigerator. In the basement were a couple of ice coolers, usually loaded with beer. It was not unusual. I mean, what a total bachelor that is. No refrigerator, no. It was not unusual to see him arriving home with a pizza or sandwiches from a carryout. The one characteristic that united the three men were liking for women. Indeed, they had begun a contest at the start of the year to see who could have sexual relations with the most women. So far, the total were 25 for Barker, 20 for Gierse, and 18 for Hinson. Can you believe this shit? God. 20 for Hinson. I mean, obviously the women didn't really care that much. I mean, they must have known about them, right? Jesus. Any contest must have rules. Theirs were that none could score with a woman who had been intimate with one of the other two. And if possible, they were to avoid married women. At the end of the year, the man with the lowest total would buy a $25 dinner for the other two. What a bunch of idiots. When police learned of the contest, it showed that the number of people with possible motives for murder might be a high number indeed. Yeah, see, there you go. I mean, it doesn't, now it's like, well, wow, did 3 husbands get together and do this to them? Mrs. J.T. Cole, that's the lady that, the secretary, mother of 7 children, who was office manager. Yeah, I guess she's, some articles say office manager. That sounds better. At B&B, dropped some of her children at school Monday morning. So now we're getting into the event. Then went downtown to pick up some microfilm work. Then she drove to the brick building opposite Linwood Square where B&B was located. When she arrived at 10 a.m., Gierse and Hinson already were working. Nothing was amiss. Their only hint of the weekend's activities was to joke that they might have to work off some of the beer today. In the afternoon, they called and met Barker, then went to the health club where they worked out, used the steam room, and took sauna baths. Jack Wignall, president and general manager, recalled seeing them. Hinson and Gierse were huge men, but smaller than Barker, who weighed in at 265. Wow, so it was like 240, 250, 265, this article says. The other one has different weights, the police said. If someone wanted to push them around, they might have a tough time. Each man could bench press 250 5 times in succession. But for all of their strength, the truth was each man was getting a little paunchy, getting a little chubby. That evening, they stayed home for a bout with television and Monday night pro football game. A friend, Wallace E. Krieger, 40, joined the trio in watching the Miami Dolphins humiliate the Chicago Bears. So this is Monday evening. Watching the game, they gulped beer from cans, and by 11:30 p.m., there were 24 empty stacked on a roll. This is the guy that said he drank the case at the fourth friend. They gulped beer from cans, and by 11:30 p.m., there were 24 empties stacked on a roll of insulation in the living room. So this is all information that Krieger told. Gierse planned to install the insulation later. After small talk about the game, Krieger and Barker left. So now it's just Hinson and Gierse at home, and we don't know anything about that. For Mrs. Cole, Tuesday was almost a replay of Monday. She dropped the children at school and drove downtown to pick up some work. By 10 o'clock, she was at the office, and Hinson and Gierse were working. Let's see. We're working. Oh, there's more down here. They worked steadily all day in the afternoon. When she went out on some personal errand, she brought back a pizza. This guy's eating a lot of pizza. Which they sampled. Barker telephoned at about 4 p.m. And that's when he talked to Hinson. There were other business calls. About 5 p.m. That's spelled wrong right there. It's Gierse. H. They have an H in there. Told Mrs. Cole, Lou they called her, we're going to have to stay a while tonight. We've got some stuff we've got to get out. He told her she could go home, adding, we'll see you tomorrow. When she left about 5:15 p.m., Gierse said, we'll be out of here by 8 o'clock, and with luck by 7:30. It was the last time she saw them alive. It was what they did from that time on is not known. Presumably, they departed the office by 8 p.m. Probably they had dinner. Theodore B. Euland of Jasper, a director and former owner of Record Security Telephone B&B, from his Jasper home at 9 p.m., wanting to talk to Gierse about business. According to police, the telephone rang at B&B and the LaSalle Street home due to a dual line arrangement, and Hinson answered. Oh, wow. So Hinson answered the... Wait, how is that possible? How is that possible? Oh, I see. Wow, okay. Wow, so they could have... Hinson actually answered the phone at 9 o'clock. I got to put that in the notes. That's a new piece of information. So, and it's interesting that guy's calling again, this Euland individual. You know, what's going on with Euland? You know, we keep hearing about this Euland guy. He's the guy that ran the... Yeah, he worked at the company that they worked at just prior. So at 9 p.m., Theodore... I bet you this Theodore Euland guy has something to do with this. Euland. Director and former owner. So he's the director, but he was the former owner of Records Security Telephone B&B, and it was answered by Hinson. But because the lines are dual, he could have been home as well. I don't think so, though. Because, like we were already saying, Gierse got into the house, took off his coat. But, I mean, that could just be red herring stuff. You know, maybe they were hiding in the bedroom, and maybe Hinson just didn't take his jacket off yet, right? And then when the other guy came over, he definitely got there late, you know. And maybe he didn't have time to take his off. Yeah, I bet you this guy knows something. According to police, the telephone rang both at B&B and LaSalle Street home due to a dual line arrangement, and Hinson answered the phone, but it is not known whether he was at work or at home. Hey, thanks, Wally Gator. Gierse was not there. Okay, see, that makes more sense. So I was wondering, like, if they drove home right behind each other. So now this makes sense. Gierse was not there. He had left before that. I bet you anything, Hinson's still at the office. So, okay. So Gierse left office first. before 9. Okay. All right, good. I was always wondering how. So where did Hinson go first that he would be behind him, and yet come home so much later that he would still have his jacket on? Okay, so now this is making some more sense. Oh, cool, Hazel. What does that have to do with what we're talking about, though? All right. According to police, the telephone rang both at B&B and LaSalle Street home due to a dual line arrangement, and Hinson answered the phone, but it is not known whether he was at work or at home. Gierse was not there. Hinson, let's see. Hinson did not say where Gierse was, but told Yulin. Let's see. So Gierse wasn't there, but he told Yulin to call back in a half hour. When Yulin called back at 9:30, Gierse... What the hell? So, man, they were still at work then? So now that doesn't make sense. Shit. Okay, hold on. Gierse wasn't there. I'm just kidding. Don't worry about it, Hazel. I was trying to read your comment. I was thinking, oh, wow, they moved? Oh, wait, no, you're talking about something totally different. Gierse wasn't there. And Hinson told Yulin to call back, and at 9:30, so now that does take that other car out of the picture for sure. Hinson told him to call back at 9:30, and Gierse answered. Wow. Why do you think this guy's lying about time? I think it's right. Oh, yeah, well, you're right. He could be, because the only witness is... You might be right about that. You know, but let's just go with what he's saying. You know, but if... Yeah, you're right, because if Yulin, like I was saying a minute ago, is part of this, why would he give any... Well, no, they checked it with phone calls. They said it earlier, right? The police... According to police, the telephone rang, so they actually know that it did that. Okay. But maybe we don't know. Well, they must have proof that it was answered, too. Rochelle. I don't know. That's a good point, though. That's a good point. Yulin told police they discussed business. Evident. Yeah, really? You know, they should put quotes around business. So he called back at 9:30. Gierse answered. Yulin told police they discussed business. He might be trying to make it seem like they were still at work when they were actually at the home being held and were about ready to be killed. Okay? He could just be making up this time. But obviously the phone calls were made. I don't know if in 71 does it show that the phone is answered and how long somebody's talked? Did it show that? I mean, I think it did because you got charged by the minute. Evidently, this was the last time anyone other than the killer or killers talked to the men. Well, here's another thing, is Yulin knew exactly when they were going to be heading home, probably. Or maybe were they at home already? I thought they were home earlier than this. But they're still at the office at 9:30 when they were pretty damn sure they were going to be leaving by 8. And then where was Gierse when, if this is true, where was Gierse when the call was made the first time? Like getting something to eat? Evidently, this was the last time anyone other than the killer or killers talked to the men. Earlier on LaSalle Street, a neighbor driving to the store noticed a dirty, cream-colored car parked across from the home, which is kind of in the same place that they would have parked. It was already dark, about 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. She did not pay much attention as the car came into her headlights, but she noticed 3 men inside, 2 in front, 1 in the back. She did not notice whether there were any other cars. It's almost like, normally they would get home at a certain time, and this Yulin guy was like, well, where the hell are you guys? So then he had to tell them, hey, move your car so they can park and then come back. Something like that. He's checking in on them to get them moving. She did not pay, well, and that's if you believe that the call was made. Like this is all real. Obviously a call came in. Did he actually talk to them? We don't know. She did not pay much attention as the car came into her headlights, but she noticed 3 men inside, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. She did not notice whether there were any other cars parked by the house at the time. When she returned home, 20 minutes later, the car was still there. So she got, it was around 7:30, I guess. Death paid a visit to 1318 North LaSalle between 9:30 p.m. Tuesday, November 30th. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wow. So maybe the 9:30 call was answered by Gierse while he was at home. If this is, let's just say Yulin's telling the truth. So, like, he actually answered the phone while he was at the house. Right? And so he made it home, took his jacket off, everything, answers the phone. And maybe at that time, Hinson is on his way back home. I don't know, just throwing it out there. The timing and mechanics are not known to police, but detectives have a handful of facts from which they have built reasonable hypothesis of what occurred. Gierse, driving his 1969 Cadillac, probably arrived home first. He was the only one who had time to shed his top coat and suit coat, hanging them in the hall closet. This indicates the house was empty. See, that's what I believe. When he arrived, or he knew his visitors. I think it was empty, and then people came in, knocked on the door after he got there. Police assume there was more than one man based on the fact that the 3 victims all were brawny, heavy, and not especially passive. Since there was no sign of a struggle, police believe Gierse was met at gunpoint. That's exactly what I think. It's cool when they think the same thing that we've come up with over the... Gierse was met at gunpoint. He was ordered into his bedroom. That's exactly what I said a while ago. At the rear of the house, struck on the head with a sharp-edged instrument, possibly a tire iron, and left on the bed with his hands and feet tied with sheets cut from the bed and his mouth gagged so he couldn't yell or say anything. Okay? There we go. If Gierse was the intended victim, the killers would have murdered him and left. Here appears the possibility that Hinson was the intended victim. Gierse was mistaken for Hinson. Well, I don't know if they are both big guys. And the killers, finding they had got the wrong man, left Gierse alive while waiting for Hinson. Yep. Man, this sounds like I wrote this thing. But while considering this, police cannot discount the idea that both or all 3 men might have been the original targets. Hinson arrived home next in his 1969 Oldsmobile, parking directly behind Gierse's car, out front as was his custom. When he got inside, he also was struck on the head, eventually taking 3 blows. It is believed Hinson was felled as he walked through a hallway towards the back bedroom where Gierse lay. Hinson then was bound with sheets and white cord taken from Venetian blinds, gagged with a piece of sheet. Oh, they didn't say he was gagged too. and put on his own bed in the front bedroom. Wow, this is crazy. From the position of his body on its side and the fact that Hinson broke the bonds of his hands, he probably had been knocked unconscious. Oh, so Hinson broke out of him being tied. He probably had been knocked unconscious with let's see. And the fact that Hinson broke the bonds of his hands, he probably had been knocked unconscious with an initial blow and tied up, but had regained consciousness on the bed and was struck again, this time fracturing his skull. Man. Barker was the third arrival, parking his metallic blue Mustang directly in front of the house. See, look at that. That's exactly how I have everything here is exactly like that. See? That's where I have Barker's car facing south. Then on the other side of the street, you have Gierse facing north and Hinson facing that direction. See, that's what you get on this show, everybody. Accurate theorizing as you go through the information. Notice how we haven't stuck on the Mason information, which all the conspiracy channels would love to, and get a lot more subs doing it that way. But broke the bonds on his hands, struck again, this time fracturing his skull. Barker was the third arrival, parking his metallic blue Mustang directly in front of the house. The headlights of his car could have been seen from the window of Hinson's bedroom. Yeah, I think that would make sense. Let's see. Yeah, it's right there. So as he pulled in, he would have seen those. So there's a bedroom there, a bathroom in the middle. That's kind of creepy looking at that, right? So that's the bedroom where I think Hinson was here. Barker's in the bathroom that's right in that area. And then Gierse is in that room right back there. Unless there's another window, and that's the bathroom window. Let's go up in the air. Is there any way to... it's not gonna happen. Shoot. Barker was the third arrival, parking his metallic blue Mustang directly in front of the house. The headlights of his car could have been seen from the window of... supposed to say... Hinson. It says Tinson. Barker probably was already in the hallway between the two bedrooms when he was struck on his head. He fell into a bathroom between the bedrooms, and there his ankles were tied. They must have hit them with something really heavy, with pieces of sheets, and his wrists with cord, and he was gagged with part of a sheet. Okay, so now they were all three gagged. One of the articles said only one was. At this point, it seemed likely that all three men still were alive. Now the strange, almost ritualistic killing occurred. In each case, the victim was lifted by their hair to extend the neck. So they know this based on how the wound looks. To extend the neck, and the throat was slit ear to ear. Hinson and Barker nearly were decapitated. Hinson's throat was slashed with such violence that blood spattered on the south wall of the room 3 feet from the bed. This bizarre method of killing obviously was to make certain that each man was dead. But there was more to it, for each man was helpless. Each could have been killed quickly and silently, with more blows on the head or by strangulation. But the killers wanted more than simple, methodical elimination of human life. The careful slitting of the throat suggested a calculated viciousness a coldly deliberate bloodletting by which not only were lives snuffed out, but perhaps some unknown evil was avenged, some debt erased, or some unmistakable warning put out. Later detectives would get the feeling that the helpless victims had been forced to watch as their buddies were murdered. Well, it's hard to say that. If you tell me that they were all three killed in the 3 different rooms based on the blood spatter, then they likely didn't see each other being killed. You might have done it sequentially so they could hear the other one, maybe moaning. Because if there's blood spatter in each room, that means you would have to lift a 250-pound guy that's feet were bound and gagged, carry him to the other room so he could see, then move him to the other room, right? So you get what I'm saying here? I don't think that they were made to watch the other ones, unless you can show me that the blood spatter was in different places. You know, like not in the rooms that they're in. On the ensuing cold and gray Wednesday, the following morning, Miss Cole followed her usual routine while driving down 13th Street to pick up a schoolmate at one of her daughters. She passed LaSalle and happened to notice the 3 cars parked in front of her boss's home. When she arrived at work and Gierse and Hinson were not there, she called the house but got no answer. Probably she reasoned they were getting extra sleep because of the late work the night before. But she didn't really know how late it was the night before. So, right, so this is going to be on page... I already have the link, hold on. I guess it was just the next page. Let me go back to that last one. I think I missed something. Oh, we're just down here. Victim's head was... In each case, the victim's head was lifted. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, here we go. When she arrived at work and Gierse and Hinson were not there, she called the house but got no answer. Probably she reasoned they were getting extra sleep. In mid-morning, a business acquaintance, John K. Carnes, 29, telephoned. He said he would call later. Several other calls came in, including one from a man who did not identify himself and said, "I want to surprise them. Don't even tell them I called," after she said they weren't there. There were several calls from Miss Diane Horton, whom Gierse had been dating, and about 2 p.m. Carnes called again. Curious but not alarmed, he decided to go to the house. The front door was ajar. Carnes went in. There was strange silence then. And then it says, "Then, I just couldn't believe what I saw." Oh, no, it's silent. I don't know why it says, a whole sentence is the word "then." It just says "then," period. "I just couldn't believe what I saw." He said later it just wasn't human. When Carnes telephoned police, skeptical dispatchers sent a patrol car. Patrolman Michael D. Williams responded. In minutes, police were swarming along the street, and homicide detectives sealed off the house. Inside the house, it was cold. Most of the detectives could not shake off the eerie feeling. In the living room was the odor of stale beer, but in the hallway was the unmistakable odor of death. I don't know about that. I don't know if you'd have decomp odor in, 12 hours like that. I don't know. And especially during the winter and the house is cold. What do you guys think? I don't know about that. I think that just makes it a little, a little flourish for the article there. No, well, they said, the decomposition odor. I don't think you get it that quick. within 12 hours in a cold house. I don't know. In the kitchen stood an ironing. Let's see. Let me type it. It's gonna. Well, I'm not gonna look for it because it's gonna say it varies on the temperature. Yeah, they didn't say that though. But in the hallway was the unmistakable odor of death. Poop and pee isn't odor of death. In the kitchen stood an ironing board with the iron propped up. On the dresser in Gierse's room was a stuffed Snoopy dog. Detectives found the back door ajar, the front porch light was on, as was a lamp in the living room. Nothing seemed to be missing. Each man had small amounts of money in his pockets. We went over that earlier. All $1 something. The buddies were fully... the buddies. The bodies were fully clothed. Gierse and Barker on their backs. Well, I guess they are buddies too. So. On their backs and Hinson on his side. There were no weapons, no signs of struggle other than Hinson's broken bonds. It looks like he tried to get out of that. So Hinson almost got out of it. He's the biggest guy. He weighed 265. It took more than one person to do this, declared Deputy Police Chief Ralph F. Lumpkin. As investigators combed the house, it became obvious that the killers had been meticulous. Yet there were a few things in the bathroom where Barker's body lay, and an imprint of a boot was found. I'm going to have to go over this again. An imprint of a boot was found on the blood-stained floor. None of the victims wore boots. Police made color photographs and have been tracing the footprints since. Now they are hopeful of locating the store where it was purchased. Also found were numerous fingerprints, it's going to say, some of which could not be matched. We only have 3 more columns here. It's probably the longest story I've ever read, but it's all good stuff. Some of which could not be matched with any of the victims or their friends and associates. The process of checking these continues with assistance of the FBI National Crime Laboratory. Autopsies showed that each man had died of the throat wound. Gierse had a 10-inch throat slash, scalp cut from the blow, a superficial cut on the leg, a stomach bruise. Barker had I think they were at one point, I don't know if it could be where their hands were tied behind their back, but they were all placed on chairs at gunpoint or something and tortured. Then they were moved individually, tied and executed. I mean, who knows? So he had a 7.5-inch cut in the throat, 3-inch cut on the back of the neck. This is Barker. That's the guy that wasn't supposed to be there. 2 other superficial cuts. Hinson had a 7-inch throat cut, 2 head cuts, and a head bruise, and a bruised right shoulder. He was the only one with a fractured skull. See, they've said that, man, it's just totally different now. Investigators on the case worked under Homicide Captain Raymond A. Coors and Lieutenant Joseph G. McAtee, with Lumpkin in overall command. Yeah, they were in a fight not too long before that, so yeah, maybe that came from that. Maybe the bruise that he had. I don't think the cuts did, but the bruise could have. And, some of them. Sounds like, though, that they were kind of tortured for a while. Hinson had a 7-inch throat cut to the head. He's the one that was in the fight the other day. cuts and a head bruise and a bruised right shoulder. He was the only one with a fractured skull. Investigators on the case worked under homicide captain Raymond A. Coors. At once, the contrast of the men, the nice guys who liked the low life, came to the surface. Thus, the investigation took two turns. One concentrating on their social life, one on their business affairs. The theory that one man was the original target got strong currency among detectives. That man was Hinson. Hinson had been worried about something. Hinson, it developed, had kept an unregistered pistol in the house, which now was missing. Hinson was the main bar brawler. Hinson received the severest blow on the head. Then police learned Barker and Hinson formerly lived at 710. Oh, good. Now we've got that. 710 North Riley. All right, so here we go. Okay. So we just had the 700 block before. Now we know that right there. Okay, this is where the robbery is going to be. Avenue. The day before the murders, there was a burglary at the vacant house. See, isn't that weird? It was a vacant house, and it was his house. So it's almost like somebody was looking for something too. You know? Because why would that has to be related? Right? I mean, what are the odds that a house he owned was robbed the day before? On Thursday, the day after the bodies were discovered, maybe they thought he was keeping something there. Mrs. Cole received several anonymous threatening phone calls. That's the office manager. She was given police protection. Shortly there was another strange call. This one to police homicide branch. Ooh. A policewoman answered, and the man told her, "I'm the one who killed them." Wow. He went, let me see, I gotta put that in there. A call came into the homicide branch. Caller said, "I'm the one who killed them." At 710. Get that in there. Alright. Awesome. He went on to say that only one, Hinson, was supposed to die. He said his wife had been dating Hinson, and he had found out... Oh, wait, this is the guy on the phone. He said, "I'm the one who killed him." He went on to say that only one, Hinson, was supposed to die. He said his wife had been dating Hinson, and he had found out about it. This was bad enough, but then he learned the word had spread to some East Side taverns, so I had to do it. Now, you can almost believe that, but you're not going to know who it was because Hinson slept with about 40 different, he was already up to like 20-something. Wow, okay. Let's see. He went on to say that only Hinson was supposed to die. He said his wife had been dating Hinson, and he had found out about it. This was bad enough, but then he learned the word had spread to some East Side taverns. So I had to do it. I don't know. It could just be somebody calling in to... I don't know. I don't know why you would do that. It was almost like he was trying to make it... Well, I'd only meant to kill one. You know, the other ones were... Who knows? But then how would you... You know, had to be more than one person. You know, that's what I was saying earlier. Maybe 3 disgruntled husbands, right? The man hung up and police were unable to trace the call. Police learned Gierse and Hinson were acquaintances of John C. Terhorst, 25, a salesman in Indianapolis for a Chicago company. In March, Terhorst was shot twice in the head and dumped in Eagle Creek near Zionsville. The last time he was seen, he had left his apartment to go to Woodruff Place to see a man named Bobby about buying Terhorst's black 1966 Corvette with gold hood scoop. The Corvette disappeared. Terhorst's murder was unsolved. Now it developed that Terhorst had sold microfilm supplies to Gierse and Hinson when they worked for Record Security. Cardboard boxes of records from B&B were found in the garage of the LaSalle Street home. Like records out of the office, they came under special audit. Wait, what? Cardboard boxes of records from B&B were found in the garage of the LaSalle Street home, yep. Like records out of the office, they came under special audit. Meanwhile, investigators went to other cities, Chicago, where all 3 victims and Terhorst had connections, but also St. Louis, Missouri, Gierse's hometown, where detectives learned Gierse and Hinson had been arrested about 2 years earlier for associating with a prostitute. Man, these guys are almost like they're on roids or something. It was the only time they were arrested, Lumpkin said. A third man arrested in the St. Louis incident, a procurer, since had been arrested for murder and was in prison at the time of the triple slangs. The Indianapolis Vice Squad entered the case to check reports that another acquaintance of Hinson and Gierse was involved in making pornographic movies. Jeez. B&B had acquired a number of contracts in a short span, including ones with Blue Cross Blue Shield, American Fletcher National Bank and Trust Company, and Indiana National Bank. As police checked these, they learned only the Blue Cross contract was sizable at $2,500. Yeah, well, I guess that's not, that's not really that much. Still, police learned that Hinson had financial troubles at one time. Gierse had set up a B&B up at B&B. Well, no, he set up B&B, the actual. It's kind of it's weird because B&B are those, the bed and breakfast. Had set up B&B, probably Bobby and Bobby. But where did he get the money? Some people in the industry estimated $10,000 would have been needed. Out of this came a theory that Gierse and Hinson had become involved with loan sharks and gangland elements. One idea was that the men had been slain as a warning to other businesses not to buck the mob or to resist efforts by organized crime to infiltrate the growing microfilm business. It turned out, Gierse, it turned out, was the subject of a $100,000 insurance policy, while there was a $50,000 policy on Hinson with Record Security as beneficiary. But Gierse himself had written the recent checks with company funds to pay premiums. Okay, so I was right. He wrote checks with company money. Wait, checks with company funds. So he wrote checks, though, from... Well, I want to know what company he was writing the checks from, though. It'd be really weird if he was writing checks from B&B to pay for the insurance policy there. Had written the recent checks with company funds. I think he was still writing him with record security on the policies which were to expire December 10th. Police learned it was not unusual for businesses to insure their top executives. The complex investigation took another turn when police found stolen merchandise in B&B. You know, it could have been that they loaned him $10,000. You know, here, well, how about this? How about this? Listen to this. That Yulin guy who works for that company loaned, you know, I don't know why he would do it, but maybe, you know, he didn't care because he's not the main guy anymore. He loaned Gierse the 10 grand. But it would only do it if he did a life insurance policy, Gierse, on himself for $100,000. And he probably said, if you don't pay this, we're going to take you out and we're going to get that $100,000 or something, right? And then something wasn't being paid. Yulin says he even did call over there. Hey, where's my money, man? Giving you one last chance. Okay, boom. You know. What do you think? Possible? Yeah, you know. There's something. Yeah. Okay, but Gierse himself had written the recent checks. A complex investigation took another turn when police found stolen merchandise in B&B, an electric typewriter stolen September 5th from a Northeast Side electric supply company, and 2 microfilm cameras, I bet those are expensive, which had no serial numbers and could not be traced. Oh boy. And remember, there was one stolen from the other company? So Yulin probably, maybe he was over there, you know, loaning. Hey, here's a camera too. Okay, you know, hey, but you got to take, I don't know. But why would he wouldn't get the money, though, in the life insurance policy, though, if it was written. How would Yulin get the money if it was for the company? So, who knows? Maybe, well, he did own it at one time. Maybe he still had that kind of power, but he wasn't officially called that, right? At the same time, similarities were noted between the death of Terhorst and the October 8th slaying of Bobby Lee Atkinson. So remember the Bobby in the other story, though? 38, a convicted burglar whose body, shot twice in the head like Terhorst. See, what if he was the burglar who stole those items? Was found and stole it for them, and the whole thing was like covering up things that were going on. After B&B was set up, was found in a Morgan County Lovers Lane area 1 week after B&B was set up. Oh man. Jesus. Man, you sort of wonder if Hinson isn't just a really bad character. You know, Hinson could be, you know, he has the gun. They acquire cameras. Maybe this guy stole it. Then they took him out. Because maybe the guy that stole it said, well, you guys have to pay me some good money for that. And so they took him out so that he wouldn't say anything. Atkinson, an electrician by trade, had only a penny in his pocket. Was this some version of the gangland tradition that when a squealer was slain, a penny was left on his chest so other criminals would get the word? Detectives could not discount the possibility that Atkinson might have been the link between Gierse and Hinson and organized crime. Yet it remained a theory for the time. There was no evidence. For all the theories, all the speculation, all the leads, the amount of credible evidence remained slim. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like what we're doing. We're just speculating based on the facts. But Detective James M. Strode, Michael Popcheff, Robert J. Termenstein and others had taken statements from 150 persons, interviewed some 600 others, and rapidly were compiling the largest file on one single case in the department's history. It seemed to contain a lot of questions and not many answers. Investigators mentioned possible suspects and administered polygraph tests to a number of people, but there were no indication arrests were made. There was no indication arrests were made. The questions continued. Who were the two angry women in the home the Sunday before the murders? Who was the crying woman in the yellow Oldsmobile? Were the killings committed by a jealous husband or lover, an angry father, or were they contract killings by professionals? Isn't that funny? Like they have the same questions. If the killers were professionals, why the bizarre throat slittings? Why not slay? Yeah, exactly. See, we had that same conversation yesterday. It was like, well, you know, if you're a hitman, you would just take them out. You wouldn't need to spend time with them. Why are they tied up? You know, why not slay the men as they were bound using the sharp-edged instrument? Well, why do they need to even be bound? Just use a silencer and shoot them as they come in the door, and then move their body, shoot the next one, move the, you know. Did any business associate have a motive? Who were the men in the dirty car? Was there a connection with the Terhorst or Atkinson death? Was Hinson the Bobby whom yeah, there you go. Well, see, there's that Bobby, but then there's another. The burglar's name was Bobby too, right? Was Hinson the Bobby whom Terhorst had gone to see? Yeah, but what, you know. Wait, what? Let me ask something. What did Terhorst sell? Do you guys remember that part? What was his gig? Like, what was he doing? Wouldn't it be weird if the Bobby the burglar got a hold of Terhorst and stole equipment from him, and those are the items that were then used by Gierse and Hinson at their business. Those are the ones that have the serial numbers wiped off. And so then that Bobby killed Terhorst, and then Hinson killed Bobby later to cover all that shit up. Yeah, microfilm, but don't you think he maybe had access to maybe even the cameras too, right? Man, that's crazy. Yeah, microfiche supplies. Wouldn't that include maybe cameras? Okay. Another man named John Terrace was murdered March 7th in connection with Hinson. He sold microfilm supplies. And then you have this microfilm camera. Man, wouldn't that be crazy if that was right, what I was just saying? And because see, look at, here's a Bobby. He says, hey, there was a Bobby that called Terhorst and said, hey, let me check out your vehicle. That was the ruse, because he was told, hey, listen, we need you to steal Bobby's, he's got a couple cameras in there that we need. Okay? So Bobby, he says, but you can keep Bobby's car that he's selling. So then he goes over there, but you have to kill, and killing him was part of the deal. So he kills Terhorst, that's the Bobby. Then Hinson kills Bobby later to cover up the trail. I don't know, just a theory. I wonder if they even noticed that there was two Bobbies in their story. I don't know. It's weird. Nobody seems to bring that up. I mean, there's an actual Bobby instead of converting Robert to Bobby. There's an actual Bobby. They don't seem to know that part. Oh, yeah, I just inhaled something. What do you mean, who's left after this? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Yeah. I agree with that one, Gene. I think it's fun, you know, the interaction is better this way with you guys too, I think. It's more like we're going through it, trying to figure shit out. Unfortunately, it's just not cool, man. Yeah, well, Mrs. Cole was just the secretary. What do you mean, who's alive? There's a lot of people alive. What do you mean? Who? Ask the question better. Like, what do you mean? Who's alive that was what? I mean, I don't know what you're trying to say there. It's a weird question. None of them. We've already gone over this the whole evening, Rita. Did you just get here or something, or? I mean, there's business associates and whatnot that are alive, but I mean, they're not alive today, if that's what you're asking. Oh, you mean who's still alive today? I don't know. I mean, Mrs. Cole would be 90, right? Mrs. Cole, well, she was 35, 1970, 50, about 85 years old if she was still alive. That'd be kind of an interesting person to talk to. Right. Even as the year ended and it seemed the trail... let's see if there's anything up here. The Gierse and Hinson left B&B, 8 p.m., okay, was there a connection with the Terhorse and Atkinson deaths? Was Hinson the Bobby? What they should say, it was Bobby, the Bobby, the burglar who, but anyways, was Hinson, Robert, the Bobby, whom Terhorse had gone to see. If Gierse and Hinson left B&B by 8 p.m. Tuesday, where were they until 9 p.m.? Well, I don't know, but a better question was, where were they when the calls were answered by them? Did they know the killers or one of them? And the questions continue. They were either... Well, here's the thing. At 9 p.m., when Hinson answered the phone, he was either at home or at their home. When Hinson answered the phone, he was either at work or at home. So you only have one... That was at 9:30. So they're both alive... actually, it's obvious they're both alive still, all three of them, at 9:30. Did they know the killers or one of them? If that's a true story by the Euland character, right? Because remember, he's the one that works at the other company, and then the life insurance policies. A crime of passion is still a strong possibility, although our information has indicated a business social angle in the slangs. Social angle. Huh. Even as the year ended, and it seemed the trail, such as it is, was I forgot where I looked away and lost my spot. It seemed the trail, such as it was, might grow cold. Another curious incident occurred. On Thursday, December 30th, which is almost a month later, a truck driver stopped at Northeast Side Restaurant. I think that's, let's see, in the late afternoon, and sat in a booth behind two men. He heard one of the men mention the name Hinson, and the other man said You've got too big of a mouth. Don't worry about it. The conversation got quieter, but he again heard the name Hinson. The two men got up and started to leave, but when they noticed the truck driver, they immediately returned to the booth. Wow, that guy must have been scared shitless at that point, because now they're like, ooh, did he hear us? When the driver left to pay his bill, the men followed. Oh boy. Oh God. Oh man, the men followed him. Outside, let's see. So outside, as he drove away in his truck, he noticed headlights behind him. The car was a dark Mustang with an Ohio license. On 30th Street, the truck driver saw a police car and honked his horn. But when he explained to the policeman he was being followed, the Mustang vanished. When the driver continued, the Mustang that guy probably shit bricks for the next 3 years. When the driver continued, the Mustang reappeared. As he arrived at his north side home, the Mustang drove by and then disappeared. Now, so they knew where he lived now. Ah, jeez. Wait, okay. As he arrived at, oh boy. The truck driver gave police a description of the car and the men, and since has been receiving police protection. Oh shit! Wow, that seems really like that's a good lead too, because you know, it's a dark Mustang with Ohio plates. Do we need to put the hello mode back on again? Jesus. Just everybody say hello, everybody. That's all you got to do. Wow, that's really spooky. Could you imagine being that guy? You heard one of them mention the name Hinson, and the other man said, "You've got too big of a mouth. Don't worry about it." And then they were leaving, but then they noticed the guy was sitting there, so they went back and were like, "Do you think he heard something? Do you think they..." Man. Then they followed him outside. Oh man, you guys, are you guys even still following along now, or like there's all the goofy crap going on? That was the one of the best parts of the whole thing. All right, anyways, I think that's it. I feel like I'm a teacher at school, you know. Wish I could reach out with a switch and smack your hands. Well, check it out. That only ended right here. Look. So we still have all this down here, but I'm not doing it tonight. So that's going to be it for me, everybody. Yeah, smoke them if you got them. So thank you to
Sarita, Sandy Lee G, Lee D, Tracy, Sarita, Michelle Black, Jay Case with a cat eye donation. Linda Howe, as in Linda Moldenhow of the cattle mutilations. Mag, another cat eye donation. Robin Frost. Berkeley Girl Laser Beam. Darlene White. Zozo. Lee D. Juju Positive. And Juju Positive with another cat eye donation. Lolly Gator. Zozo.
Yeah, not a high volume of super chats, which we normally get on shows like this, but you know, got those 3 cat eye donations, which made it a decent night. So that's good. Awesome, everybody. Hope you guys are finding this interesting. Really pretty wild stuff. Look at that. That's the house right there. Detectives out front. And there's another picture. Yellow tape around it. Yeah, so right after the show, go over and make some comments, would you? In the comments section. I think that last thing that we just read by that article, I'll even give a shout out. Maybe they're still alive, I don't know, but let's see. It would have been by William E. Anderson and Richard E. Caddy. They wrote that article 1972 on January 1st, so 49 years ago. Got a lot of stuff in that one. All right, you go for it, Steve. You go for it. All right, everybody, thank you very much. And make sure that you wash your hands, maintain your social distancing, and wear a mask when you're around other people. Other than that, as I always say, everybody, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a
Crime dissector.
flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector.
Gonna get you, wanna stretch you.
If you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Green
Is gonna give another lecture.
crime collector, freak connector, and I'm
I'm
always
always
gonna
gonna
be a pup protector, fool deflector, interceptor, and I mean a inspector with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm a pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you.
All right, yay, that was fun.
Hey, when do I say that? Why'd you do that? You took my spot.
You're gonna cry because I said that was fun?
No, but that's what I always say. You're so mean, gee. Okay, everybody. Hey, that was a fun show.
Hey, I already said that.
I know, that's what I said. See? God, good night, everybody. You're so mean.
God, what a baby. Jesus, I tell you what, man.
Good night, Ken. Sleep well, Gen H. Thanks for showing up, everybody. Cool, man.
How come you're so happy now, Mary Lou? A minute ago you were crying.
Oh, yeah. That's just an act. I just do that for them. You get that, right?
Hey, you know that they can hear you, right?
No, I was just kidding that it was an act. Come on.
Hey, too late.
No, I knew that they were still listening.
I think Mary Lou just outed herself. That's right, Lee D. Hey, good night, Jen H. Hey, thanks, Jay. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, too, for the super chats, too. Keeps it going in here. That was a crazy one, huh? We still got more to go. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but... The other articles coming up are actually after the one we just read. The one we just read seems like one that would be written 15 or 20 years later as some sort of retrospective. Thank you. Hey Gene, I don't think anybody in here actually believes you read the encyclopedia. And you can tell me it 100 times, but I won't believe you, okay? Alright, let's see. Yeah, that was cool, huh?
Hello? Hello?
See, nobody was listening. Like you said.
What do you mean? You said that nobody was listening. No, I said that. You're right. I said nobody was listening when I said that I'm not really crying and it's all an act.
Right, that's what I just said. Jesus.
Good night. Genopedia. She read her own version of the encyclopedia. Be safe out there.